All right, guys. So tonight's session is very exciting. So apa tu, the team worked very hard to produce this apa tu, research. And we're hoping that this will become the guide, yeah, for anyone looking to invest dekat Johor Bahru. So before we start, I want to have a show of hand here. Who here has actually watched our last idea of our last two punya Battle Royale? Because the first one we did dekat Maluri, right? And second one we talk about Duta Mas dengan Segambut, right? Siapa kat sini dah tengok both? Alright, awesome. By the way, only a serious investor, a real deal only will actually go and watch a 3 hour, 4 hour webinar on property. Anyone else, yang malas-malas tu boleh baca and boleh tengok headline saja, but only a real investor saja will actually go through a 3 to 4 hour webinar so that you can get a proper insight, right? Sacrifice sleep, yeah. So I think there's already a comment, Kisina. People are asking about, is there any link for the previous punya webinar, right? So yeah. And I think there's comment here. I want to hear JB Singaporean planning to buy JB property. I think after tonight, I think you will come out from the session with mixed feelings. Sebab while there's opportunities, there's also pitfalls dekat Johor. Right, so if you are not well equipped, you akan kena kelentong, you akan kena klepet, and you will salah beli, right? And the reality here is that Johor is a very weird market, right? It's either everyone go buy Johor or no one buys Johor. It's always the case, right? So Johor is very weird in that sense, right? And for some context, I started buying in Johor in 2009 when no one else was buying in Johor, right? So before the Iskandar region was developed and all of that. Then Johor becomes fashionable 2 or 3 years after we begin to buy. So everything went up by double to triple, right? So you want to basically go buy Johor when people are not buying. And today, I think the interest of Johor has gone up. But like I said, tonight you will be able to go know lah whether Johor buyable, not buyable. If you want to buy, what are the things that you have to know? What are the things you have to look at before you can actually buy in Johor? So without further delay, I think let's start. Today, Faizul Sean is going to stay again until 2 a.m. No lah, our goal today is to finish the presentation within 1 hour, 15 minutes, and then we're going to do 45 minutes of Q&A. So I'm hoping that we can wrap it, right? We can wrap it before 12 o'clock. Right, so because we're not going to do a specific property review, we're going to go with area first, right? Because I think if you understand the area tiering, you will know what to look for in Johor already. It's going to be a bit different. Like I said, this is a bit of an overview of Johor property market. Because Johor, there's a big problem with Johor. Johor has got no proper transaction data, right? So we are not trying to do a 4 hour tonight. We're trying to do maximum 2 hours. And then after that, if you want 4 hours, you can always watch our past webinar. No problem. Go ahead. Not an issue, lah, right? So we're trying to keep it short and sweet. From a content point of view, we actually wanted to reveal, we wanted to answer a lot more in Q&A lah. I think that will be a lot more beneficial for people who's going to stay, right? No medium price, ada. We will provide you with a guide, right, of medium price point based on tiering, right? So like I said, let's get the basic correct for Johor Bahru first, because the reality is that people don't understand the basic of Johor. And that's why people lost money, right? Do you know that most people who actually buy new property in Johor in the last 10 years, I would say minimum 95% of them lost money. 95. So Johor as a property market is terrible, right? If you have a property market whereby 95% of the players lose money, it's a market you need to avoid. Agree or not, guys? Right? But how come some people can still make money? How come there's a 5% that can still make money? Right? So the reality is that the 5% might know something that you guys don't know. My idea tonight is to give you the guide so that after this, you don't overpay. Right? You don't pay tier 1 price point at tier 3's location. Right? So yeah. So today, Battle Royale will be talking about Johor Bahru. Like I said, please pay full attention. This 1 hour and 15 minutes, right? And then after that, we're going to go straight to Q&A. I'm hoping to wrap it again before 12 o'clock. And of course, for those who attend tonight punya session, bonus here is that please ask your question during the Q&A, right? If your question is interesting, ada banyak repeated punya tu. So we're gonna do our best, me and the panel, we'll do our best to basically answer lah all burning question related to Johor Bahru property market or any observation that you might want to make. Cool. So guys, context. Why do we do this? Okay. Number one, we want to show how to use data to provide independent guide for anyone looking to buy property in Johor, right? So that's the first goal, right, of tonight's session, right? Number two here is that we want to put the full information so that you can understand the full point of view when we make certain recommendations, right? So basically, we provide you the full information first, then we give you the information, we give you our point of view, and then you can see whether our point of view makes sense or don't make sense, right? Like I said, at the end of the day, I made a bunch of predictions in the past. Some of my predictions has been garbage, but some of them have been quite true. And so far, the one that is quite true is really minting money lah. Like I said, we didn't enter Johor in the last 1 year when things are hot. We entered Johor back in 2020 when no one is looking at Johor, right? And you see, guys, do you know that we entered Johor on average below 400 ringgit per square foot? Do you know that Far Capital clients today dapat 7 to 9% rental yield as of today? I've just got a text from a client thanking me because he's getting 11% rental yield now. 11% in just 2 years, right? So the idea here is that for you to be able to go join the 5%, right? For you to be able to go join 5%, right? Then the third one is that to provide insights and shortcut for those who are looking at multiple areas, in Johor, to guide tenants and future buyers of Johor Bahru, demonstrate how to can use data to avoid expensive mistake, buying the wrong property, and last but not least, as usual, no holds back. No, we are going to be quite honest and transparent. My legal team already have headaches already. Because of the content of the past Battle Royale, they said there's a possibility we can be sued, right, by some property developers, right? And I would say to that, we will tell the truth lah, right? We will tell the truth, and for example, I'm not obligated to protect anyone's feeling, right? That's not my job, right? If your feelings are hurt, especially property developers or sellers who are trying to con someone to buy shit properties. Right, so let's be very clear, right? So we are taking a very significant risk here. Okay, so what will you be able to go and learn tonight, right? So number one, you will be able to understand concept of tiering in JB and how to avoid overpaying for any properties in Johor. So I mean, the first rule, right, about property investing is that you don't overpay. You overpay, you chialat already. It's going to be very hard to recover the moment you overpay, right? So you can do 99% things right, but if you overpay, the first 1% really wrong, then you koyak, right? Number two here is that which area to buy and which area to basically avoid lah. Will give you the characteristics. Third one, I think after tonight, you'll be able to know who is going to be the winners and who is going to be the losers in Johor in the next 5 years, right? Is Johor Bahru going to have bull run or bullshit, right, in the next 5 years, right? You will understand the criteria to adhere to in order to find the right properties, right? You will understand key boosters that will happen in Johor Bahru that will help increase property and rental values. Again, guys, apologies for the typo, right? And I think this will be shocking for some. Why we think the properties around RTS won't be the biggest winner. So I'm not saying RTS property won't make money, but I'm not saying, what I'm trying to say here is that I think my conclusion and our conclusion at FarCap, they're not going to be the biggest winner. We think there are better bets out there, right? Then, of course, what's next for Johor Bahru? And last but not least, we're going to do Q&A, right? So again, bonus for people who come tonight, right? You get to ask questions, right? So people watch recording, tak dapat lah. So if people watch it recording later, please make sure that you join our future punya webinar or Battle Royale. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, now I'm gonna start with some disclaimer first, right? Number one, JB market is undergoing massive changes and things are moving too fast, right? So there's a lot of changes happening in Johor Bahru, and things are moving really too fast. So I don't know whether you guys are aware, but the rental market in Johor Bahru, for example, and new initiative that is happening in Johor Bahru as of today is happening at a fastest pace it has been, right? we were shocked to find out that, and you will learn tonight, right? Rental difference, guys, in the last 2 years, in some areas, some units have gone up by more than 40%. Right? Johor Bahru, 40% increment rental. So things are moving too fast. Okay, now, so when things are moving too fast, all I can say here is that my presentation today and our presentation today, right, most likely will only be valid and useful up until 2027. Or as and when RTS is completed. So I can say here the market will be completely different after RTS is completed. So most likely we'll have to do another one, guys. But for now, right, for now, whatever that we share will be useful all the way up until RTS is completed. Okay, so we got 2 or 3 more years, depending whether Malaysia side got delay or not on the RTS. You know, so that's the second thing, right? The third thing here is that we had to change our definition of tiering for Johor because lack of viable transaction, unlike Klang Valley, and therefore we have to include the following, because in Klang Valley we determine tier, right, by current median price point, right, transacted property price, right? So that's how we did it for Klang Valley, because there's a lot of data, a lot of property transactions, so it becomes easier. Johor is very different, right? Johor is very different, right? Johor is very different. Therefore, because of the lack of available transaction, especially for mass market and above high rise, right? In tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? And therefore, we have to actually take into consideration other sense of parameters, like, for example, the launch price of this property many years ago, the current asking prices, rental values as of today, and current transacted price. So these are the 4 things we take into consideration today to determine what is the tier of each area. Okay? So last but not least, like I said, this presentation tonight is to give people a sense of guide. We've been personally, I've been investing in Johor since 2009. I bought more than 10 units in Johor Bahru. All my properties are cash flow positive, right? So I think we have some level of credibility to present what we are presenting tonight. And again, if our presentation tonight pisses you off, again, we're not responsible about how you feel about the presentation. The job is to present the data as it is as of today. I already have people commenting, I don't think this guy understands JB enough, but let's see. Never mind. I don't need to understand JB too well. All I know here is that every property that I bought is positive cash flow and I've got a 50% capital gain. I've bought more than 10. So, I'm good with that. So this is the disclaimer for tonight. This is, again, we think the presentation will be useful up until RTS completes. Once RTS completes, then whatever that we present tonight, I can say you can forget about it. For now, our presentation will be useful up until that deadline. Clear, guys? Okay, so next. Now, first, like I said, Johor property market is somewhat weird, right? Somewhat weird because, like I said, Johor property market is very seasonal. So unlike Klang Valley, right, whereby the demand for property is actually quite stable, Johor seems to have the largest number of people losing money buying property for investment, right? So again, in the last 10 years, if you look at people who are buying new properties in the last 10 years, majority of them lose money. So I can't think of anyone who bought from property developer. They either buy Dangga Bay or they buy Princess Cove or by Forest City or by Medini. I cannot think of anyone, right, other than small percentage of group that actually made money buying in Johor. So again, we did a full video of why people lost money buying in Johor, especially if you are Singaporean. Please go and watch it. That video is called Cheap, right? So the team has basically put the link there for you guys to have access to that video. So you have to understand why people lost money buying property, JB properties in the first place, in order to avoid going there, right? So if I were to summarize it, right, why people lost money buying properties in Johor, number one here is that when you don't understand the 7 criteria, you are basically betting and you are basically gambling. You're not really investing. If you are buying above median, which what most people did in the last 10 years, right? If you don't understand the premium of new versus old, which most people do not aware, you don't understand the concept of tiering, you don't buy property whereby from a supply point of view makes sense, right? You don't buy property that has got most maximum advantage or booster. You buy property that takes too long to mature, whereby you're bound to be negative cash flow for 10 to 15 years. And last but not least, you buy property with very little rental option. You are bound to lose money. So basically, right, you have to understand 7 criteria if you want to avoid, the possibility of you losing money. Because once you understand 7 criteria, you understand there are very few properties as of today in any market. I don't care whether it's Johor, I don't care whether it's Singapore, I don't care whether it's KL, whether it's Selangor, right? Not going to be many properties that can fulfill 7 criteria that will allow you to actually make money when you buy it. Okay, so guys, you've seen the barcode there. You can scan it if you want, right? If you join our WhatsApp channel, we'll actually forward you the link for the 7 criteria video. Go and watch it. It's a little bit old. We've done it a couple of years ago. Still relevant as of today. Once you understand 7 criteria, it's very, very difficult for anyone to scam you into buying a wrong property, right? So go and watch it. It's a 2-hour video, right? So first reason why people lost money buying in Johor, because they don't understand 7 criteria. So therefore, they overpay. Okay, they overpay. Now, second reason why people actually lost money buying in Johor, which is related to the maturity point, number 6 here. Like I said, if you don't understand area tiers, you're going to end up overpaying, right? So number 3 of 7 criteria, right? You got area tier, right? So you have to first understand, right? What is the tier areas for Johor? How do you define area tiers? And because of that, then you will understand what is the right price point to go and buy. Okay, so when you don't understand median, you don't understand area tier, you are going to end up overpaying. So this is basically the tier guidelines that we have basically put for Johor. So typically for Klang Valley, you got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? So Johor has got special case. Johor has got tier S, right? So tier S, not because you have got connectivity to a completely different country, completely different market. So we cannot park it as part of tier 1 because it's going to be unfair versus the rest of the area. So basically, tier S for Johor is the one nearby, essentially walkable, accessible to RTS, CIQ. Okay, so tier S is properties surrounding RTS. Okay, so only one area saja in Johor Bahru that we can call as tier S, which is the RTS near side. Now, tier 1, there will be a few. Don't worry, we're going to demonstrate which area lepas ni. So again, if your area, for example, the area that you are interested in is not part of the guideline tonight, just look at the guideline here, and then after that, you'll be able to go and find out, for example, this particular area yang kita tak sebut malam ni, does it fall into which category, which area of tier? Okay, so now, so tier 1 are areas whereby you see quite a fair bit of transaction between 500 to 700 ringgit per square foot. So that's criteria number 1 for tier 1. Okay. Number 2 here is that if you look at the previous launch price many years ago, developer tends to launch property at tier 1 at 600 all the way to even about 1,000 ringgit per square foot. Okay. Rental between, 600 ringgit all the way to 1,000 ringgit per square foot is actually part of tier 1. Okay. And then in tier 1, rental, right? Rental between 3,000 to 5,000 is common. Okay, so when you hear rental of 3,000 ringgit all the way to 5,000 ringgit for whole unit basis, for tier 1 is something macam okay lah. You've seen this before. Okay, you understand? Eh? So as of today, the asking price point of properties in tier 1 are all above 500 ringgit per square foot. So this is the definition for tier 1. Number 1, you got transacted of between 500 to 700. Developer were selling last time at about 600 all the way to 1,000 per square foot. Rental today between 3,000 to 5,000 is not uncommon, right? And today asking prices in sub-sale is above, right? 500 ringgit per square foot. So those are tier 1 areas. So don't worry, guys. I see people speculating in the comment side, or this one, this area, right? All tier 1, tier 2. Don't worry. We will give you an example kejap lagi. So don't jump the gun first. Don't get too excited. But first, understand the definition first, right? Tier 2, right, are areas whereby, as of today, the transacted property price is between 350 to 500 ringgit per square foot. So transacted property price is 350 to 500 ringgit per square foot. Okay. Launch price those days was 400 to 600 ringgit per square foot. Asking price today is above 400 ringgit per square foot. Rental between 2,000 to 3,000 is common for a 3 bedroom. Okay, so when I talk about 3,000, 5,000 rental, I talk about 2,000, 3,000 rental is 3 bedroom. Right? So I'm not talking about studio, I'm not talking about penthouse unit, I'm talking about regular 3 bedroom. Typically for a new condo. Right? Now, last but not least is tier 3. Tier 3 is tempat yang kita panggil jauh and ulu sedikit lah. So it's a bit further away. It takes you about 40 minutes to go to JB Town Center, right? And typically, property values on subsale market is transacted at below 350 per square foot. Launched below 400 ringgit per square foot many years ago. Today, asking is about 350 per square foot. You can find a lot of rental of below 2,000. Largely surrounded by old landed properties. And today you can buy landed property below 450,000. Right? So those are definition of tier. So far you guys understand? So I'm gonna look at the comment here, right? And I look at the comment here, people speculating. What about Dangabe? So which tier you think Dangabe is, guys? So before we answer, right? So which tier you think Dangabe is? I want to see. Siapa faham tu? I mean, tier S, there's only one area lah, right? Okay. I see a bunch of comments dekat sini. Right. Okay. So, for Dangga Bay, we deem it as tier 1. Sebab apa? Majority of previously launched price is between nothing below 500 ringgit per square foot. It's all 700 all the way to about 1,000 plus per square foot, number one. As of today, sub-sale transaction in, as long, sub-sale transaction today, right, is above 500 ringgit per square foot. Rental of 3,000 to 5,000, again, is not uncommon if you are talking about Dangga Bay. So because of that, if you look at this criteria, so Dangga Bay falls under tier 1. Okay? Falls under tier 1. Okay? Now, I'll give you another question. What about Mount Astin? Siapa kat sini orang Johor, by the way? Who here is from Johor? Okay, cool. So Mount Astin is which tier, guys? Okay, cool. I think a lot of you got the answer correct, right? Mount Astin is part of tier 2 as of today. It's not too far away from tier 1, but it's still, by definition, it's still tier 2 because today, majority of transacted property price is between 400 ringgit, 350 to about 500 ringgit per square foot as of today. Rental is between 2,000 to 3,000. Right? Rental today between 2,000 to 3,000. Okay. So you understand now how to use tier. And I think ada orang tanya Forest City tier apa? Forest City tier apa, guys? Come on. Let's see. Forest City got tier 100. Aduh. You stop making stories lah, guys. Right? So yeah. Tempat jin bertendang. Wah, a lot of Forest City haters tonight lah. Kesian lah Forest City. But okay lah. I don't think people here buy Forest City, right? So, do you guys want to know the answer or not, guys? Right? So, let's move on, right, to the next slide, whereby we give you an example, right? We give you an example. So, right, tier S is basically RTS and of course, obviously CIQ lah, which is the same area. Tier 1 in our definition as of today covers places like Dangga Bay, Medini, Iskandar Putri, Taman Molek, JB City Center, South Key, Bukit Indah, Horizon Hills, and Forest City. Right? And Forest City. Okay? So, that is tier 1. Okay, now, why does Forest City warrants a tier 1 rating? Number one here is that you have to understand the price point for Forest City all the while has been above 900 ringgit all the way to about 1,000 plus ringgit per square foot. Okay, so Forest City today is dead. Okay, but there are going to be a couple of things that will happen in Forest City that we are going to discuss as part of the booster and part of the gossip, right? We're going to discuss tonight that I think will revive the price point of Forest City. Again, I'm not a fan. I'm not a supporter of Forest City. We're not buying Forest City. But I think the criticism towards Forest City as of today has been quite, in a way, quite harsh, quite emotional. So for me, I look at it as it is. Forest City, the next 5 years, my personal view will continue to suffer. But 6 to 10 years from now, I think there will be a revival for Forest City. So I think there's opportunity to make money, right? Even for Forest City, right? So tier 2 are areas like Lakin, Manastin, Nusa Jaya, Gebang Nusa Jaya, especially Plantong, Senai, Skudai, even Dato' On. Ecotropics is basically part of tier 2. So again, then tier 3, then for us is places like Pasir Gudang. Masai is arguably a tier 3, right? So guys, if you are, again, if you're the areas that you are wondering is not part of this, please go back to the guide, look at the current transacted property price point, what is the rental, asking rental, and then therefore you can decide from a tier point of view, the property that you are buying is which tier, right? So, okay. So again, it's going to be quite controversial. I'm sure there's going to be some people who disagrees with us. But then again, like I said, we have basically justified, right? Kenapa we park it under tier S, tier 1, tier 2, ataupun tier 3. Right? So, clear guys? For now, this is our definition of tier. So let's just get on board and agree on this first. Okay? Now, the next one is, when we say JBCC, we're not talking about the name of the development, I guess. I'm talking about JB City Center in general, right? JB City Center in general. So what is walkable? What is walkable to RTS within a 1 kilometer rough distance, right? Plus minus 0.5, right? Is considered as RTS IQ. Anything beyond that, which is part of JB City Center, is not. So this is our definition. Okay. So then the second reason, right, why people lost money buying in Johor is because they got the timing completely wrong, right? You got the timing completely wrong. So if you look at it, for the next slide, please. Okay. This is basically a property cycle, a standard property cycle, and this is how it looks like for Johor, right? Since 2012. So you start with Johor having a 2012 property boom all the way to 2015 with the launch of Iskandar. Okay, Iskandar region, right? So you got a 4-year property boom at that point of time. Every developer started to build something in Johor, pricing at 700-800 ringgit, 1,000 ringgit per square foot, which we see is quite crazy given areas like Medini, right? Then you've got the launch of things like, for example, Dangga Bay going for about 1,000 plus per square foot, right? So these are the time, right, where people got excited, go to Johor during the boom. Okay. Then in 2016 all the way to 2019, people begin to realize, hey, there's not enough jobs in Johor to support the number of property being built. Therefore, then the Johor BHARU market actually entered a property slowdown. Okay. The Johor BHARU property market basically entered a slowdown in 2019, all the way to 2019, right? And then 2021, thanks to COVID, that slowdown became a complete slump, whereby Johor was completely dead, right? Johor was completely dead because Johor was highly reliant, right? Johor was highly reliant on Singapore. But in 2020, all the way to mid of 2021, the border was closed, and therefore the Johor BHARU property market was completely dead. I mean, if you are from Johor, right, I think you all realize that was the darkest hour, right? 2020 and 2021, and people were dissing Johor, and people were saying Johor is shit. Oh my God, my negative cash flow was so horrible. Rental was slashed by half, all the way to 60 to 70%, right? So those were very dark times, right, for Johor Bahru, right? Those were very hard times for Johor Bahru. And I remember as we entered, right, our first deal in Johor Bahru at 330 ringgit per square foot, right? We entered 330 per square foot to buy a condominium, right, from property developer, listed property developer. We were told that the border will open end of 2020. In the end, the border was only open in mid of 2021. So at that point of time, even for capital clients, my clients are cursing me. Bloody hell, this guy brought us to go and buy property. There's no demand for tenancies. Border is not open. There's no inquiries, no nothing. So I get scolding right, left, center at that point of time. I still recall, right? Today, the same people scold me very quietly, them go and buy a few more units in Johor. Right, so biasa lah, right? So as usual, when people lose money, you know, they blame everyone else except for themselves. When people make money, they quietly say, "I'm a genius. I'm the best investor in the world." Woohoo! So again, right? So 2020, 21 was a dark times in Johor because Klang Valley did experience a property drop, especially in tier 1 areas of Klang Valley. You see a drop of 20 to 30%, but Johor was crazy, 40 to 60%, guys. Crazy shit, right? That's what happened in Johor 2020, 2021. Then border open, then 2022 market begins to recover. Yeah, market begins to recover. So 2022, 2023, boom, right? At that point of time, I remember telling all the developers that we know, hey, you should start building something in Johor. The border is open. The market is very, very hard. Right? And developers like, no lah, Johor is dead. You know, the demand is so bad, overhang is very high, blah, 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 blah. So none of the developers that we speak to, and we know of many, right, wanted to go and build anything in Johor. Even Johor local property developer, they all want to go build something in Kuala Lumpur, right? So that was 2022, 2023. Now today, 2023 was a completely different year. Johor property market suddenly become the hottest market in Malaysia. And like I said, rental has gone up by 20 to 40% across the board. Some areas it's going to be 50 to 60%. Right? So today, even the developer that we speak to 2 years ago wanted to build something in Klang Valley, even though they are from Johor, suddenly say, I think we put on hold the Klang Valley first. Let's go build something in Johor. Market very hot now. You know, when I tell them this 3 years ago, don't want to follow, right? Don't want to follow. Today, now, yeah, okay, now very hot. Everyone wants to build something in Johor. So again, this is a typical property cycle. Once you understand this, then the game become predictable. So guys, summary, why people lost money buying in Johor in the last 10 years is because they got the timing wrong. They entered at the market peak. Number one, they overpay. Number two, they entered the market at the wrong timing. They entered the market when things are not ready. Primary infrastructure is not ready. Okay? So, because of that, a lot of people lost money. So I can say, like I said, 95% of the people who bought something in Johor Bahru in the last 10 years all has negative cash flow by more than 1,000 ringgit. Because they overpay, they got the timing completely wrong. Okay? So, today, now if you go to the next slide, okay? Boom has happened in 2024 onwards. Right? Boom has happened in 2024 onwards. And this is going to be a very unique time for Johor properties. A very unique time for Johor properties. Okay. Why do I say so? Because the last property bull run, it lasted 2 or 3 years in Johor. Okay. The last bull run only lasted 2 to 3 years. And then after that, it crashed. Okay. This time around, I think the bull run will actually happen for a lot longer. So of all, we've been predicting property bull run will happen beginning of 2024. Johor is already entering property bull run. Right? Johor already entered property bull run as of today. Right? And the best part of this here is that so I'm just going to be upfront, I guess, unless we royally fuck this up, okay, this property bull run will last for at least 5 to 7 more years. Minimum. Okay? How do we royally fuck this up? Apologies for the language, but I think you understand context. We put stupid policies, right? We make it unfriendly. We make it difficult for people to commute on a daily basis to Singapore. And then the two governments fight again. Right? So therefore, right? This time, I think the bull run will actually last longer. And I think, right? Not I think, I'm certain if you understand median, you understand the concept of tiering, you buy below market value, your Johor investment will actually make more than your Klang Valley or Penang or any other markets for that matter. Right? So again, we're going to uncover why, right? So I've seen comments about Singapore and whatnot. Again, those are one of the primary consideration, primary reasons why we are certain that this bull run will last a lot longer than the last one. So Johor property market, after years of becoming the joke, the joke of Malaysia property investment, right, whereby everyone loses money, right, now will become the leading star for the upcoming property bull run, right? From the zero to the hero, right? So I think there's question about prediction. Again, like I said, it's 5 to 7 years unless we royally F this up lah. Okay, unless we royally F this up. So again, we're gonna uncover, don't jump the gun first, guys. We're gonna uncover why, right? What is the external forces coming up? And of course, Singapore is gonna be the primary driver why we're gonna have a property bull run in Johor. Right? We've been saying this is 2021, right? It has materialized as of today. Okay. So, like I said, we've covered here, right? We've covered here. We've also covered property cycle. So Johor property cycle is not similar to Malaysia property cycle. So it's a bit different. So Johor is relying on Singapore. Singapore continues to do well. Johor will do very well. Singapore don't do so well, then there will be an impact towards Johor as well. Okay, clear, guys? How do you make above average returns in 2024 onwards, right? Number one here is that you have to understand, first, you got to buy below market, like guys. Look, you can have a property bull run, but if you buy at wrong shit price point, you're still going to lose money. So 95% of the people make money, you still lose money because why? You entered the wrong price, right? So again, you cannot buy at the wrong price. So first and foremost, right? So you got to buy below market, right? So from a timing point of view, you already know for now, and you're going to look at the couple of boosters that will happen, that today is the time. It's not 10 years ago, right? When the agents are selling you this story about Madini and Skandar region, which I think was, the whole, Johor is going to be Shenzhen and blah, 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 to Hong Kong. Nah, I already know it's not going to happen, right? Because it's too long. The infrastructure is not ready. Okay. For those who do not know, I've been to Shenzhen, I've been to Hong Kong. We did a property tour this year, actually. So the connectivity between Shenzhen to Hong Kong, there's 8 level of connectivities. There's 8, right? There's train, high-speed rail, 5 or 6 link bridge between Shenzhen to Hong Kong. Kita ada 2 jambatan saja. There's only 2 bridges. Now one RTS is going to come, one HSR is going to come. So, therefore, I already know that the whole idea of Madini or Iskandar will become like a Shenzhen for Hong Kong. It's not going to happen in the first 5 years. It can happen in 15 years, right? Again, provided we have the infrastructure ready. Okay. So in order to, again, make above average return, you must enter below market. You enter at the right time. And then you must observe what is the booster. And you don't want to buy something whereby what's going to happen is going to happen 10 years from now. Then only 10 years later, you make money. So that's kind of like stupid, right? You don't want to buy things whereby, you will only make money after 10 years. That to me is not very smart, right? So you want to enter things whereby, okay lah, you enter today, 2 or 3 years later completed. Then not so bad. Understand, guys? So you don't want to buy things whereby you have to wait 10 years to make money, right? You want to buy things whereby you can make money within 5. Okay, so let's talk about what is coming to Johor, right? That will help increase property value. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so now, first one is that there might be a casino, right? So guys, like I said, people give a lot of shit for Forest City, in a way deservingly so, right? Deservingly so. You will hear it from me first, okay? Forest City, right, has got three possibilities. If one of these possibilities were to happen in Forest City will recover. Forest City will be decent. I'm not saying it's going to be the best investment, no. But it will decent. It will be decent. Okay? So, there are three things that can happen to Forest City that will help recover Forest City property values, at least to recover back to its previous selling price. The first one is the possible casino. Now, what's the probability of this happening? Below 50%. Why? Johor Islamic State, right? Number one. Number two here is that it's not going to be very popular amongst the Malays, right? So the probability of this happening is going to be quite low. Then number two here is that if they open a casino in Johor, it will be a competing casino to Singapore, MBS, right? So it's going against Singapore. So I don't know whether you guys are aware, but today I think we have a pretty solid relationship with Singapore, right? I think from a relationship point of view, we are now entering our peak relationship with Singapore. Everything also we can talk, and we can talk nicely, no one threatening bullshit, whatever, right? So both countries are very cordial as of today. All right. And you got Sultan and Johor as Agong. So with Sultan or Johor as Agong, again, things are going to be even more friendlier towards Singapore. Right. So again, is this going to happen? There's a small possibility, right? If they can redefine Forest City to no longer be part of Johor. So that can potentially happen, but I think it's unlikely. Now, second one, right? Okay, is the alignment of HSR, which is supposed to go to Iskandar Putri as of today, HSR, from Singapore to Iskandar Putri. But now they are looking to realign, right, the high-speed rail to actually go through Forest City. Now, once that news is announced, then I think Forest City will actually be revived from the dead. And I think this is the most likely scenario, right, of what will happen that will help increase or recover back, right, property values in Forest City. Because today Forest City is dead, I guess, right? So I don't need to comment much lah. I think you've seen the YouTube videos, right, of YouTubers, riding on the Forest City issue, how dead is it, and blah 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 blah. Actually, just telling you it's dead lah. You watch half an hour video for you to come out with the conclusion is dead, right? So I'll save you that half an hour, this 30 seconds. But again, doesn't tell you, right? And in fact, today you can rent a 2-bedroom today below 1,000 for property that you buy above 1 million. So it's crazy low rental yield. Your rental yield below 2%. Very China-like, right? So Forest City is dead as of today. So the moment they revive HSR, the interest towards Forest City, especially amongst the foreigner, will actually be back again. Okay, rental will still be shit though, because it's still too far, unfortunately, right? So up until HSR is completed, and that one is, God knows when, right? God knows when, right? Until then, rental will continue to be bad for Forest City, right? So the only play here is tourism, right? So it's a bit ulu, it's a bit far, but again, once HSR operational, JB Singapore stopped by Forest City, then the interest towards Forest City property will go up again. So you might be able to go and pick up, sub-sale at half price, if, the Country Garden comes to us and offers us 70% discount, it's going to be very hard for me to say no. At below 350 per square foot, I think Forest City is an excellent buy, right? At 350 per square foot lah. But, will they give it to me at that price point? No way lah, right? No way, not going to happen lah, right? So those are my thoughts, right, on Forest City. And last but not least, the third one here that will help really recover Forest City value to the point it can even go up to above 2,000 per square foot, 1,500, 2,000 per square foot, is they build the third link/train station to Singapore, right, for Forest City. So these are three things that will help recover value of Forest City. For those who are trying Forest City, I can bet you one of it will happen the next 24 months ago, Forest City. I bet you one of it will happen. So you can guess which one, right? So anyhow, like I said, Either the casino happens, high-speed rail realign to Forest City, which I think is the most likely one, will happen the next 24 months, or they build the third link slash like a train station all the way to Singapore. So between the three, you ask me, factor number 2 is most likely is going to be the case. Okay, three things. These three things happen. Forest City will come back from the dead. You know, from where it is as of today. Right? So casino, I'll be very surprised if it were to happen, because it's going to be a very unpopular move. Right? So yeah, all this special economic zone and all of that, not going to help much, guys. You have to improve connectivity. Right? If no connectivity improvement for Forest City, it's going to be very hard. Right? So all these special economic zone already have. Is there, Madini. Doesn't do shit. Doesn't help shit. Sorry. Right? It's connectivity. If you can go to Forest City from Singapore within half an hour, boom. Right? Forest City will become a real possibility for Singapore retiree punya village. Okay? So, that's for Johor. Now we talk about rumor a little bit. Next. Okay? This one, I believe it's truly going to be a game changer. And I think you all know this already, right? Which is why a lot of people are interested, right? Are interested in the RTS, property surrounding RTS. So again, the most basic investor will buy RTS lah. So I'm hoping that you guys tonight who watching this video are not the most basic investor, because there's got to be a new news that will come, right? That will help change the dependency towards RTS property. Right? So, while RTS, like I said, is going to help benefit the Bukit Jaga punya side, but there's something new, which I'm going to announce shortly, that will most likely be announced in the budget of 2025. They will also change, right? The dependency of property markets relying on property nearby RTS, right? So our view here is that the property nearby RTS will be like an extension of Singapore. So our view here is that as long as you're not asking at 50% or higher in RTS area, Bukit Jaga area, right? Bukit Jaga area, right? So your value of your rental and property values will always be about 30 to 40% versus the comparable in Singapore. Right? So RTS bukan tak boleh buat duit, dia boleh buat duit. But I think at today's high price point, the probability of you making money is going to be a lot lower. Right? So again, once RTS is built, it's going to be like part of Singapore. So people will compare. So for example, in Singapore, if you have to rent a room, let's say for example, at 1,000 Sing dollars, right? So this is what I mean, right? Room at 1,000 Sing dollars, roughly about 3,500 as of today, right? Versus renting a room for 2,000 in RTS, then I think there'll be people who is going to consider renting at RTS because they save 40%. Okay? So if it's 50% or below, it's even better lah. Right? So RTS is going to be a game changer. Okay? RTS will be the reason why a lot of people who are currently looking to retire in Singapore will now look at Johor Bahru as a possible retirement home. Right? Because is Singapore cheap or expensive to retire in, guys? What do you think? Right? Is Singapore cheap or expensive to retire in? Right? Mahal, nak mampus will be the statement lah. Mahal lah. Unless those who say manageable, quite okay, means your income is actually quite high. Right? But Singapore is one of the most expensive cities in the world, by the way. Right? So the only reason why JB don't do so well because connectivity is shit. Right? It takes people 2 to 3 hours to go to Singapore. That's the reason why people don't want to stay in Johor. Make sense? right? But if you can commute within 1 hour, a lot of you will consider staying in Johor. If it's just under 1 hour. Right? So that's our bet. So RTS is a complete game changer. Next slide, please. So this is the reason why I say I don't think the biggest opportunity in Johor Bahru today lies in RTS area. Because the developers knows it. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry who can read also will know by RTS. So you're not special for asking about RTS. Sorry lah, if I hurt anyone's feeling with this statement. But you know what I'm trying to say, because everyone in Singapore is talking about the same one area. And the developer knows it, which is why the developers today can be delusional to go and ask 1,002, 1,004, 1,600 ringgit bloody per square foot in new launch. Right? So they know it, that everyone is looking at this one area. Okay? So when it's too obvious, all I can say, you have missed the opportunity. When it's too obvious, you have missed the opportunity. Today, RTS is too obvious. Okay? Guys, look at the ART. Okay? So the ART, right, as of today, 60 buses, electric buses. Okay? 60 buses, electric buses. They are taking a leave from Singapore to build electric buses, right? They will go all the way to Iskandar Putri. Okay, now guys, if you go to the next slide, I think there are some people commenting lah. At above 1,002, might as well buy KL City Center property, and I fully agree. Right, I fully agree. Buy KL at those kind of price point. Okay, so this is the proposed ART route map. So you got 3 lines. Okay, one goes all the way to Skudai, second goes all the way to Tebrau, and the third one goes all the way to Iskandar Putri. Okay, goes all the way to Iskandar Putri. Now, can you guess which area that will benefit the most from the new upcoming ART? Let me see ruangan komen. Medini, Iskandar Putri, Dangga Bay, Purple Line. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Lido area, IKEA site, Skudai site. Now, my personal point of view, the biggest beneficiary of this will actually be the Medini and Iskandar Putri area. Okay. Now, why do I think so? Because it's also nearest to second link. Right? Nearest to second link. Okay. So that's our take. So this is the possible ART route. So the finalization of this will happen during budget of 2025. Right? Budget of 2025. Okay. So again, guys, if you are just looking at RTS, you're going to have to pay a premium as of today. Okay. You have to pay a premium as of today. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So there's a new economic zone that will be added to the Iskandar region. Previously, they've got zone 5. Now zone 6 will be added. Zone 6 will largely be data centers. Right? Will be largely data centers. So again, more jobs is going to be created in Johor Bahru area. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is the special economic zone. Again, they are talking about, finalizing this by Q3, Q4 of this year, right? Q3 or Q4 this year, right? So therefore, again, this is going to be very positive towards Johor businesses, right? There will be special incentive that will be announced for businesses setting up in the special economic zone for both Malaysian companies and Singapore companies, which also means there are going to be more jobs going to be created, right? Next slide, please. Okay. Last but not least, right? The biggest booster will actually be the fact that the Sultan of Johor is the new king, right? So, you know, that is by far the biggest booster for Johor, right? It will trump everything else. It will trump even HSR, right? So, because of him, he has made certain wishes known, yeah, to the ministers. He wants certain thing to happen. So the reason why ART was announced is, one of the main reason why ART is being built because he's there as a king, right? So again, him on board for the next 4 years as king of Malaysia will swing a lot of things into Johor, right? So Johor will finally happen properly. Yeah, will finally happen properly. Okay. Then the question here is that ADT want LRT, MRT, not ERT. Simple. LRT, MRT, very expensive to build, also takes a long time. ERT will be completed before RTS is completed. That's why they go with ERT. It's cheaper and it's faster to build, right? So therefore, they go with ART rather than LRT ataupun MRT for Johor. They wanted ART to be completed before RTS is completed. Yeah. So this is all the booster that's happening for Johor. They will be very, very positive to us for Johor Bahru property market, right? Next slide, please. Okay. So now I'm gonna leave it to my team, which is Zairi and LB, to brief you guys a little bit about what we have basically found out about Johor property market. Again, you have to understand that Johor is very unique. Okay. Johor is very unique because a lot of people sell property at sky high price point 10 years ago, and today the sub-sale price point is nowhere near those selling price, right? It's nowhere near those selling price, right? So therefore, when we say tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? So you're now going to understand certain area, what is the price point of property above 100 ringgit per square foot and all of that. So with that, I'm going to hand over the floor to my team, LB and Zairi.
All right. Thank you, Faizul. Okay, I think this is my part. Thank you, LB. Okay, so I believe you guys are looking for investment in Johor, right? Okay, so we're going to have a look into the data. Okay, I'm not anak jati Johor, all right? Claim, but I'm from KL, all right? So, but I know quite a bit about Johor. I'm familiar with Johor ever since the COVID. So I get more interested in Johor. There's a lot of boosters coming in. As a typical investor, yes, I'm going into Johor as well. So yeah, this number is really important, yeah, for those really wanted to invest in Johor, because it's really different than Klang Valley. The macro and micro is also different because Klang Valley can stand alone. This one is more on the impact on Singapore towards Johor. So I think Faizul has explained quite a lot on Johor. All right. So I skip this one, 7 criteria. I think Faizul explained already. So we go into Johor itself. So I believe a lot of people from here, they are not from Johor. I know probably 80% of you guys. So you might be a bit foreign, looking at this map. What is this, right? But Johor is not that huge actually. So I would divide Johor into 3 parts. Okay, so you can see here, this the Buah Raya Skudai Bertingkat. It goes from the Plus Highway, right, up until the down south of Johor Bahru. This is one part. So this is the west of Johor Bahru. This is the central of Johor Bahru. Okay, up here is Kempas. This is Tampoy and city center. Right. So this is the EDL. Basically, Johor have started all of the construction infra and everything from 2012, but that time is still not boom for Johor. Right, it's probably after the bull run. So a lot of infra like the EDL, the highways to the Horizon Hills towards the Medini. So all of this is being constructed during that period of 10 years ago lah. So it's not now, but if for those yang masuk that time, probably you see something lah. But now it's really, really hot. Okay. So this part, west, central, and after the EDL on the east side, Taman Mole, Austin, and up nanti Pasir Gudang is the east side lah. So 3 parts of Johor Bahru. You can see here Jalan Lingkaran Dalam. This is the RTS and the causeway lah to Singapore. So I would say this is the part where it is the RTS S punya grade lah, not Tier 1, S. So yeah, that's the closest that you can get to the RTS and the causeway lah. Okay, next. Okay, let's see into the transactions. Okay, actually, if you look here, all right, we have scrapped the data from 2022 until 2024. There are roughly around 1,700 data. So 2 years and a half, 1,700 transactions. So it's quite really, I would say, active because this is the transactions for high rise only. Okay, so in Johor, high rise only. So this is about 700 units, transactions per year. And if you can see here, we divided into 2 parts. All right, before 2014, about 10 years ago, is old, and the new ones is roughly around this 10 years. Okay, the median is 408,000 sahaja, right? Regardless of the size, new and old, is 408,400 ringgit per square foot. So it's not high. After this, you can see later on the data. You can see there are some people are paying high, but the median is still at around 400,000. Okay, so for all ones, you can see if you benchmarks towards the overall units of transactions, the old ones, that nothing, zero is above 500 ringgit per square foot. So if you were to pay 500 ringgit per square foot.
Oh, Zairi.
Yes.
For context, right? This is only referring to high rise, right?
Yes, high rise only.
Okay, so guys, just for context, this is basically referring to high rise numbers only. Okay. Number 2 here, we purposely segregate new versus old. Now you can see already, if you look from a data point of view, the old property, very hard to fetch anything above 500 ringgit per square foot because there's no demand for people to go and pay above 500 ringgit per square foot, right? For an old high rise in Johor Bahru. Now, for new high rises, there are demand. But again, if you look at it across the board, right, in the whole of market of Johor Bahru high rise, less than 30% of the transaction are actually above 500 ringgit per square foot. And if you are talking about 700 ringgit per square foot onwards, you are talking about less than 10% of the transaction. So guys, long story short, there's a reason why we show this data, right? And the reason why we show this data is because so that you guys don't just simply go and buy blindly anything above 700 ringgit per square foot. You already know as of today, looking at the market, looking at the data, less than 10% of the market looking to buy anything above 700 ringgit per square foot in subsale. Right? There's a reason why we show this data. Number 1, we like to buy new, especially if you can buy new below 500 ringgit per square foot. Okay, that's just far capital's move, right? Number 2 here is that there's a reason why we identify tier 1 as 500 to 700 ringgit per square foot and 700 ringgit per square foot onwards. You can see already from a number of transaction point of view, it's not going to be a lot. Okay, just please bear in mind. This is the numbers as of today, the numbers, of what people are willing to pay. Average median is only 408,000, roughly about 400 ringgit per square foot for Johor Bahru, if you look at new versus old. Zairi, do you have the data for new property median, or is this a blended median at 409?
This is a blend median, so mix of old and new.
Okay. So you can see already, right? The mix of new and old is only 409 per square foot. Obviously, if you look at new properties, then that number most likely will be about 500 plus per square foot. Right? So 500 plus per square foot if you look only at new. So anyway, carry on. I'm just chipping in as I see comments and questions from people here. So like I said, this is only high rise. Number one, this only covers Johor Bahru. This is to give you a sense in terms of how many number of property transaction, which is above 700 ringgit per square foot. And you already know 50% of the transactions in Johor Bahru high rise happens at 400,000 and below. Okay, so don't just simply buy, guys. Right? Don't just simply buy. Right? Don't buy into the story of property developers. It's okay, property value should go up. 800 ringgit per square foot is cheap. Everything is cheap compared to Singapore. Right? Okay, carry on, Zairi.
Okay, all right. So yes, as per explained from Faizul, you can see that above 700 ringgit per square foot is really 10% or less. For new is 10%. For overall transactions, you can see is 8% only. So, but these transactions is actually coming from tier S that I will show you later on. But other than that is zero. There's none transactions above 700 ringgit per square foot in other areas other than tier S. So yeah, don't overpay. So this is the median that you have to refer to if you're interested in Johor, right? So next. Okay, so here's the tier S, which is the Johor Bahru City Center. All right, so this the median you can see is currently transacted 190 transactions, 650 ringgit per square foot. Majorly is being pulled down because of the older developments. You can see it's only roughly around less than 300 ringgit per square foot for the old ones, because the old ones is roughly around 20 years plus, end of 1990s. So all of this development is very old. It's still 400 plus thousand because most of the older ones are the big sizes. All right, but if you see here, 2014 onwards, you can see there are transactions, especially coming from an RNF, which is about 800 plus per square foot. This is the highest you can see in median. This one is the 1 km plus to the RTS. So this is the first phase. Second phase, they are about to VP. This is the crazy thing about RNF, right? It's still selling, right? Around 1,100, 1,200 ringgit per square foot. So here, median subsale, you can find around 800 plus per square foot. So you need a lot of cash if you were to buy the second phase. Because let's say the studio or the one bedroom, you're looking at around 800,000 to 1 million. So 50% of it is coming from Singapore. I would say most of the transactions probably is coming from outside, from Johor. So it's not local buying this. It's crazy price. Other than that, you can see the Tri Tower. You can actually walk to the RTS around close to 800 ringgit per square foot as well. Twin Galaxy, 800 plus per square foot. And the other one that's quite famous is the Kai Suites and Meldrum Hill. This one is quite old, around 8 years, so that's why it's transacted slightly lower. But the new ones, I would like to highlight, there are few undercons in this area. One of it is the Coronate Square. So this is the studio. They are starting a studio roughly around 450 square feet, up until 600 square feet. But the price per square foot is around 1,300 to 1,400. This tier S is the one that you can see the biggest range of difference in terms of the subsale and the undercon. So undercon is really getting really high, but it is still selling, right? So that's the currently going on in the tier S, right? So other than that, 1,300 ringgit per square foot in Coronate Square, there is also Quayside. Quayside is going for 1,500 ringgit per square foot. So that's really crazy, considering it's about close to 1 kilometer away from the RTS. Not that close, but still 1,500 ringgit per square foot. So that are one of the example, two of the example that's currently developer is selling and launching at a crazy price in Johor. Okay, next. Okay, so I also segregated this tier S and also the other parts of Johor Bahru city centers that is going up north after the lingkaran dalam. So the one going up probably around towards the Kampung Majidi, so Taman Pelangi, so Taman Surya, all of that is currently the transaction you can see is around close to 500 ringgit per square foot. close to 500,000, all right, for this area. And I believe this is the area, if you see the below before 2014, this is the area, all of this condo is close to 20 years ago. So this is one of the area that have a condo for reside in Johor Bahru before more and more condos coming up in this area. So the highest one you can see transaction is the Setia Sky 88 by SP Setia, 768 per square foot, 550K in average. But like for example, City Woods was also around 500,000 for three bedrooms, 530 ringgit per square foot. So this is one of the area because to buy in the tier S is too expensive. They are buying in the other parts of Johor Bahru City Center to actually ride the hype, right? So here you can see the new ones is going closer to 600 ringgit per square foot. So this Johor Bahru City Center is the tier 1. All right. Other than that, we also have a Danga Bay. So this is not too far from the city center. It's also close by. You can see around probably 6 to 7 km to the RTS. So this Danga Bay is a new area, I would say, around 10, 12 years. Last time it was a Pantai Lido. So China developer coming in, and you can see Bora and Tropez is Tropicana. But Country Gardens, Danga Bay, 8,000 units coming in back in 2012. All right. So that's the highest transactions, okay, in this part of Danga Bay. And that's why it's above 500 ringgit per square foot. You can see most of the developments. And that's the reason why it is a tier 1 as well. So this Johor Bahru City Center and the Danga Bay is a tier 1 area. Next. Okay, there's also other parts of Johor Bahru City Center, which is Lakin and Tampoy. Actually, Lakin is not too far from the few developments that I've shown you, like City of Sky 88. So it's just a short drive as well to the RTS area. So it's roughly around 8 km away, but it's up north. All right, and Tampoy is closer to the west side of the city center. So this area is a tier 2 area. You can see the transaction doesn't actually reach 400 ringgit per square foot. So it's different, even though the location, the distance towards the city center is not too far, right? It's quite similar to the other parts of city centers, but here it is still transacted below 400 ringgit per square foot. One of the newer developments is the M Condominium and Surya Mas in Lakin. Okay, this is still around 370 to 420 ringgit per square foot. So these are more catering for locals. So locals wanted to stay in the city center, so this is the area. Other than that, Tampoy, most of the transactions is back in, most of the developments is back in roughly around 5 to 10 years ago. No new undercon in the area, but these are the local favorites. So this is the tier 2 area. You can see still roughly around 300 to around 400. This is the highest for 50 ringgit per square foot, but only 2 transactions. So in general, yes, it is. You can see newer ones going around 350 ringgit per square foot, quite similar to the Lakin, 380 ringgit per square foot. So these two areas sitting next to each other is a tier 2 area. Next. Okay, and then just now I'm talking about the center part of Johor Bahru. Now we're going towards the east side, which is the developments or the area that is after the EDL highway. So we have Tebrau on the north part and also Plentong on the southern part. Okay, so Tebrau, I divided actually Tebrau into 2 areas, which is Austin. Austin is around IKEA. So IKEA is IKEA and Aeon on Austin. So that's Austin area. So a lot of people quite confused because there's a lot of developments going around the Austin area, but it's not actually Austin. So I divided because this area you can see the per square foot wise for is actually more higher than the other parts of Tebrau. So other parts of Tebrau is actually That Dato On, Ada Heights. There's also Seri Austin, which is higher after Austin. So yeah, Seri Austin, Echo Palladium, so it's going up. So it's actually not Austin. So you can see here, 2018 and after, I can see most of the transactions is more than around 445 ringgit per square foot, around that, right? But the older one is still around 344 ringgit per square foot. So the range for the old to the new ones is about 340 to 470, around that, right? So that's Austin area. Okay, one of the famous one would be Palazzo, like 3 bedroom, 1,000 square feet is around 500,000. So this is quite similar pricing to the other parts of city center that I've shown you previously. Okay, so this is also Singapore favorites. They like to go see, come here and shopping and stay. All right, Austin part, because this part of Tebrau is one of the well developed. There are more landers in the area. Singapore is buying the landers in this area lah, because it's just a short drive from the EDL straight up, around 30 minutes only. Okay, so this is Austin. Other than that, other Tebrau, you can see there are new developments like Secret, Pandan. So because these are, the Pandan is around Taman Pandan, so this is near the industrial areas, so it's not really organized, the area. So other part of it is Taman Daya, so Seri Austin. So this part is still, I can see the newer one is still going around 400 ringgit per square foot onwards. So other parts of Tebrau and Austin, yeah, is a tier 2 area. So it's still below 500 ringgit per square foot, around 350 to 500. So this is a tier 2 area. Next. Okay, so we go down south. Okay, still on the east side of Johor Bahru, but down south. Okay, so I segregated this area into three parts. But the main focus, I think the main highlight will be the Taman Molek. So Taman Molek is something like, you can say something like TTDI for KL. The local favorites, those a bit more affluent, staying in this area. There's not many, it's not really like busy like city center, but because of the landed and then the commercial there is doing really well. So the locals love it. So you can see Taman Molek, this is one of the tier 1 area. Okay, so just now you see Tebrau is tier 2 area. Taman Molek, this part of Plentong is tier 1. So you can see the new developments is going, like Moral Agency is 530 ringgit per square foot. So it's for new developments have higher than 500 ringgit per square foot. So it's a tier 1. Overall is still slightly below 500 ringgit per square foot. But most of the units here is large sizes. You can see like more like Pines, you can see most of it is 1,500 around that per square, 1,500 square feet size. Per square foot is slightly low, but the medium price in absolute is really high. So it's more for own stay in this area. Other than that, there's Permas Jaya. Okay, so Permas Jaya is other parts of Plentong. So this is slightly below than Taman Molek. So a lot of this actually covers few areas macam Perma Indah, Taman Bayu Putri. So Taman Bayu Putri, the one is closer to Mid Valley. You can see there's Marina Cove, close to 600 ringgit per square foot. Ponderosa, so 360 ringgit per square foot, big sizes. So these are the tier 2 area. Okay. And other than that, there's also other areas which is Masai. So this is going towards the further east side of the east Johor Bahru. So you're going towards the Pasir Gudang. So you can come here. This part of Masai is from the Pasir Gudang Highway. Okay, so the new developments, which is Meridian Bayview, it's 380 ringgit, 380,000. So less than 400 ringgit per square foot. That's the new development. The water edge is slightly more expensive because it is under Sinibong. So this part of Masa is covering Senibong, covering Taman Rinting, covering Bandar Sialam. So this a bit further from the city center, a bit further from the locals. The activities. Most of it is locals. So a lot of landed here you can still find below 500,000. For the new launch around 500,000. For the sub sale 400,000 you can find 350 to 450,000 you can still find this area. So but there are a lot of transactions for high rise as well. So but we still below 400 ringgit per square foot. So this is the tier 3 area lah. Okay, next. So I've covered already the city center and also the east part of Johor. Now we go to the west side of the Johor. From the city center to the west side, you have to pass through Bukit Indah, and then go towards Horizon Hills, and then you will see Medini lah. So where's the Legoland is. So there's also one part of the Iskandar Putri, which is the Putri Harbour lah. So these are under Putri Harbour by UEM. So one development by UEM is here on the north, on Tiga Alamas and Kop is all by in the vicinity of Putri Harbour. So Putri Harbour you can see around 540 ringgit per square foot. Medini currently 528 per square foot. So Horizon Hills for 504 per square foot. So this part of Medini, Putri Harbour, Horizon Hills is all tier 1 area. Here also you can see in Bukit Indah is 406 ringgit per square foot. The reason is because it's quite old developments. It's around 10 to 12 years old developments, Skyloft and the Sky. But the new ones, which is like Sky Trees, Sky Breeze, these two developments is also currently asking around 580, 650 per square foot, around that range because of the small size. But still, is above 500 ringgit per square foot. Tapi belum ada transactions lagi. That's why you see Bukit Indah is 400 plus still. But actually, most of the new ones is actually asking closer to 600 ringgit per square foot. So it's a tier 1 area as well. So the one bottom here, Bayu Angkasa, Nusa Central, these are the Gelang Patah lah. So it's further down towards the second link already. Okay, so this one is a tier 2 area. So Bayu Angkasa and Nusa Central. So it's 400 plus ringgit per square foot. Okay, so yeah, most of the west side of the Johor Bahru is a tier 1 because it's well developed like Medini. Currently, you can still buy 500 plus per square foot. Those that bought last time 10 years ago is buying, as Faizul mentioned, is buying around 800 to 1,000 ringgit per square foot. So the lacking right now is infra, but still a lot of things is going on in this part of Medini. Okay, just to give one example, transactions, one area which is Eco Botanic is also part of tier 1. Currently, you can see the landed for the Semedi is going above 1 million. So in this area, the terrace houses is going around 700 to 800,000, slightly cheaper than Horizon Hills, but still it's not the typical area of Johor lah, Bahru for locals. So it's really expensive for the landed. The high rise is also, there's one development which is Eco Botanic, Sayang, the surveillance department by EcoWorld. So it's going around 450 ringgit per square foot lah. So there's a big size, around 1,000 square feet. So 450,000, 3 bedrooms. So that's the only undercon in this area. There's not many undercon currently in this area. Most of it is actually absorbing the older top sales in the area. Okay, so I think I've done my part. I would like to pass this to LB.
Hello everyone, it's LB here. So okay, I'm going to continue with the presentations. So I'm going to update mainly about the rental yields, how's the rental going on, like the differences, how much has it increases in Johor on JB lah, okay? Johor is very big, yeah, but we are focusing on certain area in JB today. And today I choose to present this Medini Techno performance. Is basically, as we know lah, Medini is one of the area with a lot of controversials. Last time when they launched, it's very expensive. They are targeting Singaporeans to buy it, but they have the issues with the titles. Then they turn to a bit dead or not really very popular lah. But then with something that's happening with Medini, but we can still see the rental of the yield of this area is still quite good. Actually, it's still performing comparing to the markets now, and we'll show you like further details like the data we have collected in 2 years back and the differences that how many percentage has it increases up to today. So I chooses Medini. We have actually segregated according to the size, layout, the rental market. So Medini fall in tier 1. So the rental market in this area is roughly about 2,000, 3,000, something like 3,005 with big size, of course. So the average asking rental per today is about 2 to 3 ringgit Malaysia. But the asking per square foot in this area is close to about 5 ringgit 90 cents. It's close to about 600, depending on which segment are you looking at it. And the yield is about 5 something, close to 6. So basically in this Medini area where everyone say Medini, like no one is there, it's very quiet. But surprisingly, actually I have stayed in Medini for a few times. Some is for working purposes. Some is just for vacations. I choose to stay in Medini to feel how is actually Medini is. Is it Medini is that bad, like how people describe Medini is? Okay, but surprisingly, yeah, it is a bit quiet, especially during the weekends. But I find the condo I stay in Medini CH before, the condo is actually quite full, and also quite a lot of people, or I could say Singaporeans, they come back as a weekend home in Medini area. This is what I found, like, yeah, many people buy Medini because Medini area is the only area in JB or the whole of Johor Bahru or whole of Johor. They don't have any minimum threshold, which means foreigner, you can buy Medini without any price point. There's no limit. So you can just enter it. So even though you wanted to buy Medini at $500,000 today, you are Singaporean, you are still entitled to buy Medini. Okay, so this is why making Medini specials. And also Medini have come up with a lot of like, government have tried a lot to improve Medini's situations. They have put in like special economic zones, and we have seen RTS going to pass by Iskandar Putri. So hopefully Medini's as this tier 1 area can improve much more and further. Okay, so this is generally on like Medini's performance as per today. So it might surprise quite a number of people of you like, why Medini? Okay, where people can choose to buy to near to like JB City Center or close to like CIQ, RF. But there's still a lot of people who choose to invest in Medini because of the price point and also the location itself, and maybe the booster that we are looking at for Medini. So let's see about the next few slides about the rental market performance in different area and tiering. So we have Austin Regency, Bayu Angkasa on this slide. Austin Regency is on tier 2 area, mainly on the east side of Johor. So surprisingly, this area has actually the biggest increase, difference in percentage is about like 40 to 50%, even for a tier 2 area. So generally we cover like studio, some is 2 to 3 bedrooms in the area. So you can see about the studio 2 to 3 bedroom, it's about 53% for studio. And also for Bayu Angkasa, Nusa Heights and One Centrals for bedroom is slightly slow in the markets for this area, but because this Nusa Heights actually largely also surrounded by landed. So not much people there. So, but still there's a bit rental increases about 30% in just 2 years' time. We have recorded the quarter, actually it's quarter to 2022 to quarter quarter to 2024 actually. There's a typo over here. So this is Medini in general. So we have Medini signatures, one Beni Paradiso, Iskandar, the Pristine. Okay, so different area come with different rentals increases, different layouts, has different demands, but generally on Medini itself, like close to Medini signature, the area is about 35%. Lah. Surprisingly, Medini signature has most of like the biggest increases for the 3-bedroom. Last time was 1,008 only, but today you can rent out about 3,000. So about 67% increase in their rental. So next one is Bora Residence, Country Garden, Danga Bay, Tropez Residence. Okay, so average on this area is about 36% to 47%, close to 50%, mainly due to its locations lah. So we can see much of it is generally is a quite huge difference compared to like other area, because Bora, Country Garden, Tropez also fall in tier 1 in the area. So next one we have Marina Residence, Marina Cove and Botanica. The differences are actually mainly being brought really down because of Marina Cove and Botanica, which is not doesn't really have much huge difference in their rental. So that's why for these 3 comparison, the rental difference is not that much. So we have Epic, Alif and Country Garden as Central Park. But for this area, we are only taking studio in the consideration, because last time when we collected for this area, we were actually targeting to see the demand of studio in this area. So for this area, for studio is about 40%. So even though today in Epic, quite a number of like studio can actually reach quite high rental in this area as well. So that's all for actually on rental yields part. As a conclusions, we can see that actually mainly on different area, different tiering come with different rental differences and different increases, mainly due to the location itself, whether you are near to CIQ or you are near to the second link, or you have any upcoming boosters, or is there any solutions to the current problems that the area is facing off. I mean, like our government actually putting help to, boost out the markets in JB in general, even in like forest cities or Berdin Iskandar, or even they build RTS, to increase the connectivity towards Singapore, because we all know, right, a lot of Singaporeans, they might choose to retire in Malaysia due to the living expenses. And also some of it choose Medini because Medini, as for now, they don't have any like minimum threshold for them to buy. And also it's also near to second link. So this is one of why they choose to invest or buy in Medini at the first place. Let's see how Johor will revive in futures with the spillover of in Singapore and also the rental markets. So I will pass the slide to the next presenter, William, which he's going to share more on the point of view as agents and some personal experience about JB and also Singapore.
I think it'll be a coordinated between both me and William. So just beam us up, like, basically.
Sure.
So I've changed my shirt, guys. Maybe we can also bring Iheng also now. So do you like my shirt, no, guys? When money calls you, you pick up the phone, guys. So ada gimmick sikit malam ni. Macam buat movie kan, ada tukar-tukar. So okay, before I go to the Q&A, begin to ask William and Iheng, right? So we're just going to cover my overview in terms of the opportunities for Johor. I'll be very, very, very honest and very straightforward. Johor is never a standalone property market. Johor is highly reliant on Singapore, right? So Iheng, you got any comment on this? William, you got any comments on this?
I like 80% of my entire property development experience comes from Johor. Like when you all talk about second link, right? Second link, I was part of the team that got the drawing submitted at second link. I lost a drone because of the second link. Because we were constructing the roads, and right opposite is the army camp. Then I stay in all the Mount Austin when it was the only building there was Hospital Amina. No, Sultan Ismail. Amina is the other one. So I invested in Taman Molek, lost my blood for that property. But it's a very cool Japanese hangout place. That's why when you say tier one, that's why I was very curious to see like what the tier one system is very weird. Because I think Johor BHARU is too big, and you will only have very concentrated actions of commercial. And if it works, it works. Like when Bukit Indah was the thing, then it was very good. But now when you have the eco-botanic side coming up very strong, the nest, right? The nest was a mistake last time. A lot of people buy already, they kind of complain to me. But now it's the highest in demand kind of thing. Eco World is the one only launching and building their buildings right now, which is amazing. High rise is like hotcakes. I try to use Insider to buy their landed also tak jadi. And also, personally, I own a terrace house in Nusa Idaman area. I bought at 400,000. But now, because my tenants actually works in Singapore, so they just offered to buy my house at 650,000 last week. Oh, but no lah, sell for what? So yeah, so that's why back then when I was part of the team that sells all okay, disclaimer, I work in Madini when it was called Madini, so now it's Iskandar Putri to be politically correct. I was part of the team that goreng the place to be sold at 1,000 per square feet. Our KPI is to make people buy. So it's very interesting to see how we sell last time and now how it turned out to be. Luckily, I didn't continue because I will go to hell. Because I look at all the second-hand prices, wow, no joke. So I think people like who is listening right now, right, a few things that will go into mind. Like now, when it's goreng very hotly right now, everybody is buying RTS, everybody buying Johor BHARU. Now only you go in, right? A bit too late, right? Meaning whatever that is already sedang digoreng, all premiums are in. And that is what I see back then on the effects of marketing that I was doing. No matter how we sell, I sold out. So there was a story where I sold one block of offices. It was sold out in 2 days at 700 per square feet. This was like 8 years ago. And I got called to my developer Tan Sri's office and kena straight in the face because I was giving out the properties for free.
Wow.
So now you look back, right?
Can reveal now which company you work for? Which Tan Sri char
Yeah,
you?
you know lah.
Which Tan Sri dare to char you, Sean, today?
No lah,
He
that was
must
8 years
have
ago.
regretted charring you today. Wow, you can crash the property price today.
No.
That's the power of Ihan today.
I wish lah. But yeah, so it's like I think whatever LB shared just now about the rental price is amazing. But if you were to buy today pun tak jadi.
Yeah.
So I think the trick is the locate. So I think JB, in my opinion, is complicated because it's very area specific. Like Taman Molek and Mount Austin is literally one road away.
Yeah.
And Taman Molek is tier 1, but Johor Jaya is tier 3. Same road. So last time I stay Taman Molek, but go Johor Jaya and eat. Then Madini and Nusa Idaman also one road away. Nusa and Gelang Patah also one road away. So just by one road away, you will see Eco Botanic also one road away. That's why it's very, very difficult, right? If for those who are totally clueless on what is happening right now, I would suggest KL actually. Because the other part of Johor, I think, is very complicated, is the people. So it's the, first of all, you divide them not by nationality, by the source of income. Once they earn Sing dollar, right, then you agak-agak know, that's how I divide them last time. If you earn by Sing dollar, so then I will ask on the mode of transportation. Do you drive to work or do you take bus to work? Last time there was only the Smiley bus to go over lah. So that determines all the hot places that was investor prone. If not, the other market is to look at, it's just local market. And locals, until today, I still doubt that they will buy high rise.
Actually, it's a very interesting observation. When I begin to enter Johor Bahru, when I was buying my 11 units, then I come across this guy who owns about 50 so-called semi-D landed property, bungalow and chop houses. Basically, that built the empire, and then that handed over to him, business owner. So he manages the portfolio on behalf of the dad, right? He was telling me, you are stupid to go buy a high rise in Johor. And all these high rise in Johor cannot make sense. So basically, a general overview for local traditional Johor investors, they don't believe in the high rise condominium story, right? So he only bought one development in high rise, right? He bought that Sky, I think Sky, is it?
Sky 88 should be
Sky 88, I think. The one nearby Bukit Chaga, right? 800 ringgit per square foot, and he thought it was cheap lah. So it was baffling for me that he thought my Palazzo was very expensive at 250 per square foot in Mount Austin. But went and buy 8 units of Sky Suites, and he wanted to buy more, but the developer don't allow him to go and buy more. So it's just baffling for me lah, the level of thinking, right, and their view of the Johor property market, especially on high rise, right? And I think Sean made a very interesting observation. You must understand who is trying to goreng something here, right? So as of today, like I said, 2 years ago, no developer wants to build anything in Johor. Like no one. I spoke to 10, all of them will tell me Johor is shit. Today, everyone wants to build something in Johor. Even postpone their launch in Klang Valley just so that they can build something in Johor. Right? So I think it's a very interesting turn of events, right? Whereby it's not fundamentally driven, but rather than hype and emotionally driven. And unfortunately, it's like a cycle which is doomed to repeat itself. Right? So the sucker born every second, right? So in a way, 15 years ago, there's a bunch of people got greedy, got caught in Johor Bahru. Today it's going to be the same. However, the silver lining here, and I guess the good news here is that a lot of these greedy guys will eventually be saved by the fact that they got somewhat the timing correct by accident. They don't know how to calculate, but they just simply went and buy, right? So and by luck they're gonna make money, because the forces which is gonna drive the value of Johor property are actually coming from Singapore. So it's got nothing to do with Johor fundamental itself, guys. So which is why like I said there's a reason why I call William, I call Ian to come and participate in this particular discussion, because we're going to discuss really opportunities for Johor, right? And I think the common theme here is that, number one, not all areas in Johor will enjoy a rise in rental value and property value, right? So for example, Taman Molek is the original OG of Tier 1 in Johor. It was the only one at that point of time, right? All the banks are there, all the rich local Johorians are there, right? And it was the area, it was the Bangsa of Johor. So that was like 10, 15 years ago story, right? Which is why Taman Molek is very expensive. But today, we've got the emergence of Bukit Indah, right? Which today becomes like a nice transportation hub, right? Then you've got the emergence of places like Iskandar Putri, Medini, thanks to the Iskandar region initiative, right? Now we've got RTS2. So the balance of power is shifting. In fact, even South Key is turning to be quite a nice place, right? A nice hotspot. So again, guys, I'm giving you a major hint on this discussion today, right? I think we cannot make it too obvious, but the major hint here is that you really want to bet into areas whereby you think the Singaporeans won't mind staying and renting. Right? Because the local guys are not going to pay your 3,000-5,000 rental. Right? The only people who will pay that kind of money are people coming, working in Singapore, or they are earning something in Singapore. So from the rental condo in Singapore, or they're actually working there. Because otherwise, the above 3,000 market is not for locals. The locals won't pay above 3,000. Right? Any local Johorian here? Right? Any local Johorian? Right? If you're a local Johorian, how many people that you know from Johor actually pay above 3,000? Mana ada? Johor macam Penang lah. Right? Banyak kiam siap punya tau. Kedekut punya. Takkan bayar punya. Nak bayar. You know, my friend told me, right? Even kedai, right? So kedai, if you have to pay parking, people don't go. That shop is going to be dead because you charge parking. Kelakar tak?
Yes.
Right? So that's just the reality, right, of the market in Johor. If you think the local Johor are going to pay 2,500, 3,000, you are definitely sorely mistaken. So guys, bet on areas whereby you are either Malaysian or Singaporean, familiar with. Right? That would be the major hint, because these guys, number one, if you look at the slides, right? Number one here is that because things are too expensive in Singapore, people are not looking at Johor as an alternative, right? So can we move to the next slide, please? Right? So this is an official rental, right? Increase out of Singapore. Since COVID, rental has gone up about 40 to about 60% across the board. Right? 40 to 60% across the board, right? So these are the primary driver why Johor property rental has gone up. Right? It's not because Johor has become fantastic. RTS not ready. The commercial is not, much better than what it was 5 years ago. The real primary driver is actually Singapore. If you bet on anything that has got no Singapore element, no people coming out of Singapore, they're working or owning, right? Coming out of Singapore to go and buy. I think, like I said, these are going to be one of the poorest performers. So, and of course, Sean has basically mentioned, right? It's separated by one road. Right? Sometimes it's separated by just one road, few kilometers, and then voila, tier 1 versus tier 2 versus tier 3. Say, for example, I own, this is how unbiased I am, right? I own property in Mount Nastin. If I want, I can always justify how Mount Nastin should be tier 1. But I don't do that kind of shit simply because at the end of the day, if I think it's tier 2, it's tier 2. The signal and the indicator is very clear. If the average transacted is between 400 to 500 ringgit per square foot, it's tier 2. Right? And for me, Taman Molek is confirmed tier 1. Because again, if you look at the transacted, you look at the rental price point, 3,000 is okay for Taman Molek, not okay for Mount Nastin. Okay, so again, guys, if you are looking for something in Johor today, you must look at something that the Singaporeans are friendly, are familiar with, which means it's not everything. Just because you have a property buran in Johor doesn't mean everything will go up in value. There are certain themes here, right? And it's also very unlikely for one guy from Singapore trying to go buy something in Johor Bahru and stay in a kampung somewhere. And it's not going to happen, right? So I guess the other debate here, for example, that I guess Sean and I and William will have here is that from a preference point of view, right? Landed versus high-rise for Singaporean. Right? So landed versus high-rise for Singaporean. So if you are a Singaporean looking to stay in Johor Bahru, right? Is it going to be a landed property or high-rise? What do you think, Sean?
I think it will be landed. I think.
Okay.
So because if it's condo also, it must be large sizes, 1,500, 1,800, 2,000. Experience where you cannot get like water side, seaside, Singapore side, whatever. I think that will be it, because now if you look into the landed properties launched by property developers, seriously don't need to sell. Now like all the people are like, oh, Sean, I'm making a lot of money, right? Now I need to use insider just to get a unit. I need to use connection just to get a unit pun tak dapat. And it's crazy. So I think it's a very blur side whether is it a Singaporean going to retire or a Johorian who is earning Sing dollars going to retire. I think that's also a very clear demarcation. Because even if you look into Masai area, the landed projects are not cheap. So I think something to also add on just now what Faizul said about for the past 4 years no developers, right? But actually within the shadows, there are a lot of developers who still put in a lot of effort. So they build all the infrastructures using all the low construction costs. For those who have ability to tahan for that darkest time of Johor, their construction cost was dirt cheap. All contractors almost all wind up already, almost all wind up. So they were all starving for jobs, and this is when they built all the property investment components. So at this moment of time, you can really pay attention. If you really pay attention, you see not all property developers are working, but if you see those, right, they are building malls, they are building schools, they are building things because construction cost was cheap. So now just so happened the market pick back up again. Ooh. But now like everybody's trying to build more, sell more, right? Actually, will they earn more? Not really also because construction cost now is going up back up already. Subcontractors also all priced accordingly. That's my finding. So but the answer to that, I do think it's landed because I bought 2 landed house in Johor BHARU. So I think people will buy Johor BHARU landed houses.
What about you, William?
If you are talking about Singaporean buying properties in JB, right? I still think it's most likely a condo lah. So I mean, as a Gen Z, right? I'm a Gen Z myself, right? I got a friends who, I mean, local JB lah. Surprisingly, 3 of them actually bought condo in JB itself, right? I mean, just to share an extra insight lah, right? We talk about the high rise thing. So they are local JB, they buy JB also, and it's a high rise, right? I think when we talk about this thing where Singaporean buying what kind of property, in JB itself, right? I would say basically like what China people or Hong Kong people when they buy property in Malaysia lah. They buy something that really they are comfortable with. Mostly they are buying like high rise as well in their locals, right? So when they move to here, I mean most likely they'll buy also something that's similar lah, like what Sean said also, high rise. But I mean Sean's take is more on landed lah, kan? So I would say it's still on condo lah, basically, right? Because they offer more things. I believe Singapore, even private condo, actually the facilities is not as good as any new launches in JB lah, I would say. The condo wise, rooftop pool, semua tu, I think it's quite rare lah in Singapore, even for private condo.
Are you saying JB property is better than Singapore property?
I mean, what they
share your Facebook
offer.
account so that people can char you personally. This is William's personal point of view. It's not our point of view. It's not the panel's point of view tonight. Right?
Betul. When I check out like six property lah, private condo mostly in Singapore. I tengok the specs. I mean, the price of course different lah compared to JB one, but what they offer generally as a private condo kind of category is quite different lah. It's like China also when they offer the high end condo, right? It's the specs. I mean, Malaysia what we offer actually quite a lot. We have a lot of condo with rooftop pools. I think it's quite rare actually. To foreign markets from Malaysia. So I think that's what we are special of lah.
Cool. Can we hear a little bit from the audience? What do you guys think? Okay, before that, I will tell you my POV. My POV 5 years ago is similar to Sean. My view here is that you spend all your life, staying in a small high rise. If you go to a market where property price is cheap, surely you will stay in a landed property, right? So that was my POV up until 5 years ago. Today, my POV is on high rise because I had a Singapore friend who come and tell me, Singaporeans in general are very afraid of a foreign market. So security is a major concern. And the main reason why they will still buy condo, because they hear a lot of shit happening in Johor. So for example, if in our Q&A, as I read right now, right? Apa tu? Buying property in JB must also look at whether safe or not to drive in evening. So news group, people stopping car, burglary, Iskandar area at night. Local also don't go out. So, so that my friend made a very, I mean, he's a Singaporean, right? He doesn't have reason to BS me. He just told me, look, why would we risk it, right? So we hear a lot of shit about Johor. So why would we risk it staying in a landed property whereby burglars can happen and whatnot? So my view would be a mix, right? So my view here is that I think there'll be a lot of interest towards firm gated and guarded community. So I think, gated and guarded with facilities, I think will continue to do well amongst both wealthy locals of Johorian and also from Singapore. Right, so that will be my take. But in general, I would also think the really wealthy Singaporean don't go buy Johor. Right? The real wealthy Singaporean, they will actually go Australia, they go London, they go US, they go Canada, So because they are wealthy, so only the B50 out of Singapore that I think will realistically looking to retire in Johor will probably go for something which is they are familiar with. So since security is still a major concern, I would say I think it's still going to be high rise. But again, don't let the three of us, decide this. Can we open the comment and chat and see what do you guys think? So do you think, for example, if you are a Singaporean today, I mean, the local Malaysian don't need to talk. Local Malaysian all buy landed one, right? Because they, if someone try to rob them, they also tell them, aku gangster kampung ni. So you don't kacau me, you kacau rumah orang lain, right? So we get defense mechanism dekat situ, right? So let me hear your thought, guys. So I think Horizon Hills will continue to do well. I think Eco World, all these gated and guarded nearby.
Strata landed on all the landed.
Strata landed will continue to do quite well, right? For sure, right? Even the rentals are actually a bit more expensive, right? So I think one of the main reason why Bukit Indah area was actually did quite well is because of the emergence of gated and guarded housing too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there will be a mix. There will be a mix. I think there will be some people who look at the requirement upon retirement to see whether I need a 4-bedroom double-story house, right? Or they just want to stay in a 2-bedroom condominium, right? So I think, yeah.
I think it's also the location of the high rise and the location of the landed. So I think a lot of the landed that I have in mind is only Eco World one and Horizon Hill and Bukit Indah.
First and foremost, for area, I think it's only tier 1. Forget about tier 2. Forget about tier 3 lah.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
So I think area-wise it's all going to be tier 1, right? So it's the tier 1 area which I think give you the best representation of opportunity if you're targeting the Singaporeans. Because these are areas that they are already familiar. Talking about Eco Botanic, you're talking about Medini, right? You're talking about Bukit Indah, right? Taman Molek. So these are areas that these guys are already familiar with, right? So places like Leisure Farm, right, is basically part of tier 1 too, right?
But Leisure Farm jauh though.
Dia unique property lah. Dia jauh lah, very far.
That one
I
is
wouldn't
like
stay there lah.
Huh? Really?
I wouldn't.
Oh, you wouldn't? Oh, okay. I thought you would. Oh, I thought I don't know Faizul.
No, because first and foremost, I like convenience. So I don't want to drive half an hour to get a damn coffee. So it's not acceptable to me, right? It's 5 minutes, 10-minute drive is okay, but half an hour, no. If I have for example, stroke or cardiac arrest, by the time I get to hospital from Ledang, I'm gone lah. I'm already half paralyzed, right? So I stayed there in 2019. So every time that we have to go and get something is a half an hour drive to somewhere.
Yes.
So it's damn far lah. I don't know whether accessibility has improved or not, right? But nah, not for me. I like convenience. I like to stay nearby the city. I like to be well connected.
But one observation also, right? I don't see very good mixed development of high rise with retails below in Johor.
Don't have actually. I think the closest one there is probably South Key lah.
South Key and
RNF.
RNF.
RNF. I think boleh ikut.
Border.
RNF,
I think
RNF
Sunway
boleh lah.
Iskandar also border.
Okay, Sunway, I think 5 to 10 years from now will be very, very decent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I biased lah because I built them.
Right. So again, guys. So if you are looking at opportunity, number one, for me, at least my point of view, I'll stick to tier 1. I forget about tier 2 or tier 3. I'm not saying tier 2, tier 3 cannot make money. I'm just saying that tier 2, tier 3 will again target locals who are gonna have certain limitation when it comes to budget for rental, budget to buy also. You know, because a local Johorian will never think about buying 600,000 for a high rise because they can buy a 600,000 landed property half an hour to Johor Bahru. Right? So for me, that's my view. Right? Which is why I think tier 2, tier 3 offers very limited opportunity from a capital gain. In fact, even rental yield point of view. Because these are, you're not going to be able to go and obtain the Singapore dollars to look at your property. Right? So I don't know whether you guys are agreeable to that, but for me, I will focus only on tier 1. Right?
Another strategy I would think is to focus on commercial areas where Singaporeans will spend money. So like why Palazzo is hot because Mount Austin, why Bukit Indah is because of the commercial. Then last time it was Taman Sutra Mall. That was hot, very hot. Taman Impian Emas side. Then the other thing is international schools, because one observation also, I think a lot of Singaporeans are sending their children into international school in Malaysia. Yeah, so like the Sunway International School, it's packed, fully packed. Then you have Marlborough, that is also fully packed, and international school is all coming up. So I think that is also ignored. I think a lot of people don't pay attention to that. Like, why would Singaporeans with the best education system want to send their kids over to Malaysia?
Okay. So if we can move on, guys, a little bit more to the slide so that we can basically quickly wrap it up before we go to Q&A, because, you know, we have seen a build up of already questions. Now there's 24 questions. Guys, if you have any question for tonight, please put it in Q&A. Don't put it in chat, right? So we're going to disable the chat now. So if we move to the next slide, right? Continuing on this particular theme, whereby for me, like I said, the reason why I will only bank on tier 1 and the markets whereby Singaporeans are friendlier, because for 2 reasons. Number one, property prices in Singapore has gone up. Rental in Singapore has gone up. And on top of that, the cost of living in Singapore has also gone up. Right? I am actually quite shocked because early of this year, I travel to Singapore like once every quarter at least, and you know, I normally hang out at airport lah. I like the Singapore laksa. I like my roti bakar and my toast, right? So I'm quite okay in Malaysia. I can buy whatever I want, but every time I go to Singapore, I feel very poor. So these are the 3 things I go look and you know, makan lah in this area, because I quite like them, right? Also good protein source. So to my horror, right? The tools that because well, I'm a property guy, so I remember prices quite fondly, vividly, even 10, 15 years ago in your price point, right? So I remember the toast that I had when I came in, I think March, it was only $4. The same toast was now $6 in just 2 months. The last time I came. So I think inflation has gone up by quite a fair bit. Right now with GST is going to go up, food prices is going to go up. So again, because of the high cost of living in Singapore, on top of high rental, right? High rental, high property values, is also going to drive more interest towards Johor property, right? Is this a fair statement, guys, to me? Because things in Singapore is getting very, very expensive, right? So because of that, again, my view is tier 1 area, stick to tier 1 area, because these are areas whereby Singaporean, number one, familiar. Number two, have a little bit of faith, is a little bit more safer compared to the rest lah. So I don't know whether you guys want to stay in Pasir Gudang, go walk jalan-jalan, pergi cari makan ayam penyet tengah malam. I don't think you guys will do it lah, right? But I think you will probably do it in Eco Botanic. I think you can do it in Medini. It's relatively quite safe, right? Quite safe lah. Right. So if you move to the next slide, right, on top of the additional cost of living now, my view is this. Whatever the rentals that you see in Singapore, right? Whatever the rentals that you see in Singapore, when it goes up, the rentals in Johor will also continue to go up. And again, right, which beneficiary will be Tier S will be the first beneficiary of rental going up, followed by Tier 1, followed by Tier 2, followed by Tier 3. Okay, guys? The Tier S, which is the RTS, will be the first one to move up in price point before the rest of the tier can follow. And how does Tier S decided its rental value is going to be largely dependent towards Singapore. Okay, so that to me, right, is what is going to be inevitable prediction for the future. Okay, so if you go again, right, in Singapore today, one of the things that I think will be very positive towards Johor is simply because, number one, Singapore government has got pretty good policies to secure the future of Singapore. Their primary objective today is to increase the number of high-value jobs, increase income for Singaporeans and people who are working in Singapore, right? Which unfortunately, right, will make it very expensive for people to retire in Singapore. So my point of view here is that the B50, the bottom 50 of Singapore, which is roughly more than 1 million people, families, actually can't afford to retire in Singapore. Okay, they won't be able to go and afford to retire in Singapore. So, and what is the cheapest option available? That would be Johor Bahru. So today, retiring in Johor Bahru is unthinkable because, commuting is very bad. Right? Commuting is very bad. It takes too long. But moving forward, if the commuting is cut to less than 1 hour, I think you're going to see a couple of 100,000 people at least in the next 10 years starting to retire in Johor. And over the next 10 to 20 years, I think you will have half of the retiring Singaporean population will actually consider retiring in Johor. Right? Which means then, okay.
I thought the source was GG, not 99.
GG, Oh, okay. 99.co. Right. So guys, we're going to do a little bit of summary and recap before we go to Q&A. And then we're going to talk about the 4 main areas that I think whereby the Singaporeans retiring will actually consider as a place of retirement. Okay. So summary, recap a little bit for tonight. Next slide, please. Number one here is that I think it's very clear now. RTS is very obvious. Anyone looking at Johor or looking to bet on RTS, developer knows it. They are now milking that additional coverage which is given by Singapore media, Malaysia media, Singapore investors. Like I said, any Tom, Dick and Harry is talking about RTS, which means it's no longer the time for you to go and buy. Okay, so focus on ART, especially areas that is covered with Tier 1. That I think is your biggest opportunity. Okay. Number 2 here is that no matter what tier, what area, the goal is to not overpay. Because once you overpay, it's difficult lah. So it doesn't matter whether you go Austin, Taman Molek, you go to Medini, you go RTS. Doesn't bloody matter lah, guys. Just don't overpay. If you overpay, you lose money. That's for sure. It will take you years to recover. Okay. So what you want to do here is that you pay Tier 2 prices in Tier 1. You want to pay Tier 3 prices in Tier 2. If you do that, hard to lose money. Okay. Number 3 here is that you got a window of basically 3 years before RTS is open. The moment RTS is open, then things become very crystallized. So that would be the height of speculation. Okay. So you got about 2 more years to go. So today, right, the RTS side, I think is full speculation already. If you are talking about 1,002, 1,004, 1,005 price point, it's pure speculation. Now, why do I say it's pure speculation? Guys, I see people commenting 1,200 ringgit Coronation Square fully sold. Do you know what is the valuation today by local Malaysian banks for RNF? It's below 1,000 per square foot. Right? The average valuation of Malaysia banks for RNF, a project which is located direct link bridge to RTS, is below 1,000 per square foot. Which is why anyone who buys that project today have to put a few 100,000 down payment, because the valuation is so low that you have to top up the difference. Right? So I don't know whether if you pay 1,200 for Coronation Square means you're going to be able to go make money. Again, Sean, you've seen this before, whereby property fully sold, within a month, you get scolded by Tan Sri for giving 700 ringgit per square foot property in Medini for free at 700 ringgit per square foot. Look, we've seen this before, right? So the only difference today is that you've got one massive infrastructure backing this out. But again, it's assuming that everyone wants to stay nearby that area. Right? So if there's no ART, guys, 1,200 ringgit per square foot nearby RTS, you'll make money. If there's no ART. Right? With existence of ART, like I said, a lot of other areas will be a bigger beneficiary at a much lower price point. Okay, so guys, timing, you got 2 or 3 more years to go before RTS is completed, before you start seeing the maximum element of speculation, right? Now, if you want to maximize your gain for the next property bull run, okay, this is my guide to you lah. And I know a lot of people are going to hate us for this, because at this guide, majority of the hot discussed property, majority of the hot discussed property are all selling way above this guided price point. But again, I'm giving you a price point whereby I want you to make a lot of money. So if you want to make a lot of money, you follow this guide of price. If you don't care about making a lot of money, you're okay with making, 10%, 20% gain, then you buy whatever that you like. After all, it's your money, right? It's your mortgage. Who am I to say? But for me, for tier S, I will only enter below 800 ringgit per square foot, because for me, anything lower than 50% gain in the next 5 to 10 years for Johor, you are performing below market average. Right? For the next 5 to 10 years, if you make less than 50% gain, sorry guys. You think you are a good investor? Not really. Most likely, you are performing below market average. Right? So, if you buy tier S at 800 per square foot or below, the probability of you selling at 1,002 all the way to 1,005 is actually quite high. So you make at least 50%. So even after Forex loss, right? So for example, if you convert Sing dollar to ringgit, you're still going to make money. So which is why you have to make minimum 50% gain. Tier 1, 550 per square foot and below. Right? Tier 2, 450 per square foot and below. Tier 3 is 350 per square foot and below. Okay, if you want to make more than 50% gains, this is the price point you enter. You enter above, you're going to make less than what most people are going to make. Okay, I guess I should also put another caveat before I forget about landed property, Sean. Right? Why I'm not so bullish on landed property. Landed property is a little bit more sensitive for foreign ownership. Yeah. If you know what I mean, from a sentiment point of view.
Agree.
Right? So there's a possibility that if there's any future clamping down for foreign ownership for property, it will be towards landed property first rather than high rise. Does that make sense? Because landed property, you own a piece of land in the country. So, some political party will say, jual negara, you are selling this country. Right? Those statements, we've heard that before, right? So therefore, landed property is a bit more subjected to that rather than high rise. Because high rise, you know, shoebox local, don't bloody buy it. Never mind, I'll let the Singaporeans have it. You know what I mean? So that would be the mentality to defend the high rise rather than the landed property. So again, you know, it's okay if you are looking at it as a place whereby you really want to stay, not really for investment point of view, right? You don't care, right, about when do you exit. If you will save, perfect. Now is the time, because today Johor market is very friendly towards investors, Malaysian and non-Malaysian. The friendliest it has ever been, right, in the last 10 years today. But because of the higher transaction in Johor as of today, the MB has already indicated that most likely we have to discuss clamping measures already. Again, taking a leaf from Singapore. All right. So these are opportunities, I guess. So Sean, do you have any take about you know, your in terms of price point?
I think before anybody is like getting FOMO about it, right? Listen to what the previous buyers during the last cycle talk about the property. Like even at the peak right now, it's still lower than the peak that I created. I think
That's true. That is very, very true.
You see RTS at 1,002. Like last time Medini also sell 1,002. Like,
that's very true.
Yeah. So and that time nothing was built. Now you can see RTS like, okay, you got construction works ongoing, everybody taking pictures every day. Hey, last time it's just a sketch, just an idea only. Submission put ada. Already we can sell 1,002 already. And yeah, also I think before anybody gets FOMO about it, do also consider, like, to me personally, when I look into these prices, I will buy KL. Yeah, at 1,002 to 1,005, like, yo. Like when you say like locals, like we think about Malaysian government clamping down, we can also think about how Singapore side will clamp. This is a like just restriction due to safety. And like we have another Ulu Tiram issue. Because once the Ulu Tiram issue happened, so many people drop bookings for projects. I think that is something like when you talk about safety issue, I didn't want to bring up because everyone, I think, like Sean Johor hater. But last time a welcome ceremony for all KL staff to Johor was their cars window kena break in. That was a welcome ceremony. So all KL staff who goes down to Johor, all their car will kena smash window. So welcome to Johor. and you don't want to bring that, but you know, I think that is a very, very sensitive issue.
These are opportunities. Like I said, I think if you enter at this price point for these tiers, I think you're going to be fine. Again, this is not to say if you pay higher, you're not going to make money. Again, to me, if you make less than 50% capital gains, if you make less than 7% rental yield in Johor over the next 5 to 10 years, you are performing below market average. I want people who are watching this webinar gets above market average, not below market average. Right? So that's just, you know, what we think will make money in the next couple of years. Okay. So I also have caveat in terms of what will make Johor property market not so good, dead, right? So if you look at it for the next slide. So again, I guess this is the tier guideline. Please go and screenshot, right? This before it's you know, before we move. But alternatively, like I said, just scan the QR code, join our WhatsApp channel, and then we're gonna share this, right? Tier guideline in our WhatsApp channel. Okay, next slide, please. Caveat for me, right? Is you know, Johor should continue to outperform the rest of the market in Malaysia. Again, provided you buy undervalued, right? You buy below market, right? Again, this is again subject to completion of infrastructure as per plan. Yeah. If RTS get delayed by 10 years, whatever that I share today, not going to be much relevance. Right? And good luck for those who are paid 1,000 per square foot. Nearby Bukit Jaga, right? So you know, so again, this is all subject to the completion of the infrastructure as planned, right? So I'm talking about completion. I'm not talking about completion on time, because Malaysia normally completion of infrastructure rarely on time. So I'm talking about just completion. So I put caveat there already. Right? Number 2 here is that there's no border closing event again lah. So there's no event similar to COVID, which causes the border to close for the next 3 to 4 years, right? Number 2, we've got some level of political stability with good working relationship for both countries, right? So this is important because again, cross-border. And last but not least, both government made an effort of trying to make it easy for people to commute and cross the border on a daily basis. So for those who do not know, they are widening the lane for motorcycle to go to Singapore and vice versa, right? They are now experimenting with passportless, right? Starting from April this year, to speed up, right, the process of people being able to cross border. So again, these are all very positive signs whereby both countries are working towards, the right direction, which is towards the future. That will help again, greatly increasing the property values around Johor. Now, next slide, please. I guess the next point of discussion, right, which I think we can bring the panelists, and also I will ask people later also, right, in terms of option, right, for people who are retiring out of Singapore, because I think that's going to be the largest segment, right? So there's a reason why I picked these 4 areas. Again, number 1, most high rise. Number 2, you must have a minimum 5,000 units in the one area, one development, one area, whole development, right? So to cater to at least 20,000 Singapore population within an area. So because of that, there are not going to be too many properties around Johor that has got this level of density, which is as of today only Princess Cove, Forest City, Country Garden Dagabe, and Medini. So Sean, go you first. Which one you think is going to be the best option?
Iskandar Putri.
Iskandar Putri, which is Medini side lah. Right? What about you, LB?
I go with Medini as well.
Okay. What about you, William?
Singaporean retirees, I think either Forest City or Medini lah. RNF just too small. So I think I still go for, okay, I want to be different a bit lah. Let's go for Forest City.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, my money is on Medini for Singapore retirees. Again, not to say RNF is not going to do well, but if you're talking about Singapore retirees, right, that particular market, there's no reason to stay nearby the city center. You guys make sense? I think the people who are commuting, working every day, Singapore, especially nearby the first link, right, will basically opt for Princess Cove for sure. It's already a clear winner lah for that side, right? But on the other side of whereby, you are driving, right, or you're not required to go to work on a daily basis, then I think the second link will actually be a much more viable option to stay in, right? Plenty of places to go and jog and whatnot, and it's actually quite safe lah. Right? It's quite safe, right? So yeah. Do we have any more slides, guys, to share before we go to Q&A? Okay. Last but not least, before you say, Faizul, you talk up only. Where can buy tier 1 and below 550 per square foot? Where can buy tier 2 and below 450 per square foot? Where can buy tier 3 and below 350? Okay. Before you say that, like I said, personally, I've been investing in Johor. Far Capital has bought Johor since 2016. Right, that was the first one. Since 2020, we got a lot more active looking at opportunities in Johor. We bought quite a fair bit of properties in Johor, right? So before you say, I don't know the market, I don't know what I'm talking about, this is all theory BS, okay? So again, I'm going to showcase a little bit of what we have bought, what we are continuing to buying, and what price point, so that you can understand the picture. The only thing I cannot reveal is the property name and the developer name. All right, but we will reveal to you the area, and then you can make a guess out the list of the property. Next slide, please. So today we are buying in Johor. We are buying tier 1 in Johor. We are paying below 360 per square foot. right? And the original SPA price, as you know, what Sean has mentioned, those days is above 1,000 per square foot. Today we are buying 360 ringgit per square foot, roughly about 100 Sing dollars per square foot. So before you say, I don't know what I'm talking about, this is the price point that we bought this year. So again, sorry if it hurts anyone feeling who paid above 1,000 per square foot. You can go ahead and pay those kind of money. We have different standards. We look at real opportunities. We look at investment completely different. Like I said, at 360 per square foot, this is almost a tier 3 price point, but we are buying it in tier 1. Okay. So this is the deal that we have done this year. We are now negotiating more deals. Right, we are now negotiating more deals somewhere along the line of these price points too. Again, confirm tier 1 area, but definitely below 500 ringgit per square foot. Right, so we are negotiating still. We're hoping to get about 100 to 200 units of such deal. And we are hoping to buy below 300,000 ringgit. Right, so again, before you say no cheap property, if you say no cheap property in Johor, simply means you haven't done your homework. Right, so I don't care whether you're local Johorian or you're not. Like I said, this is what we're doing. This is what we're buying as of today. Right. So the next one, for example, these are deals that has happened in the last 1 to 2 years, the last 24 months. Right. So again, we like to enter the market before everyone realizes there's an opportunity. We are normally a couple of years ahead of everyone. So if you go to the next slide. Okay. Remember I said most people who buy Johor in the last 10 years all lose money, right? The reality here is that we are buying properties in Johor, right? So you can see here, this is the Marina area, right? You've got Mount Astin, you've got Medini. If you look at it from our rental yield point of view, right? Rental yield point of view, our Medini deal now is now hovering about 7.3%. In fact, I think we had clients who are able to go and rent out at 4,000 per month now, right? So that means the rental yield is now above 8%. Like I said, rental yield has gone up in Medini, for obvious reasons. For those who do not know, there's now buses services in Medini available to go to Second Link, right? So for those who do not know, so now you can go to Singapore all the way to inside Singapore via Medini, with shuttle buses, right? So when we go to the Marina area, right, the Plantong side, while everyone else is getting about 5.85%, and they are paying about 500 ringgit per square foot, we are paying 430 ringgit per square foot last year, and today our rental yield is about 6.8%. So we are getting positive cash flows. AR or the one in Austin is something that we have bought in 2021. We bought it for 350 ringgit per square foot. Net. Some units are transacted at 330 per square foot, right? So today rental yield is very high. Some clients are getting above 10% too. So again, these are deals available in Johor when you know where to look. When I say guide, tier S don't buy above 800 ringgit per square foot, right? Tier 1 don't pay above 550 per square foot. Tier 2 don't pay above 450 per square foot. Tier 3 don't pay above 350, right? Whatever my recommendation is what we are doing today at FAR Capital. So this is not a for fun webinar, right? Whereby we just say things, to make you feel bad. No, this is not the purpose, right? The purpose is to educate the market, right? So guys, there are deals like that available. If you are looking to buy in Johor, again, please be mindful that today there's a lot of goreng happening in Johor, right? So much, especially around the RTS area. So be mindful. Like I said, try not to pay above 1,000 per square foot, because for me and Sean and the panel here, I think we all come to the same agreement. If you have to pay above 1,000 per square foot, we must well buy Bukit Bintang and KLCC, right? Because that's what we are buying, right? For example, our deal last year is that we bought what for 1,200 ringgit per square foot. We bought something nearby Pavilion Bukit Bintang, walkable to Pavilion. We bought something walkable to TRX. That's equivalent to you buying something that can walk to Orchard Road, Iron Orchard, right? And something walkable to Marina Financial Area, right? At 1,200 ringgit per square foot net. That's available at 50% discount. So when I say please adhere to this price point, okay, it simply means that if you want to make money, buy at this price point. If you don't care about making money, fine, just buy whatever price point that you want lah. After all, this is your money. I'm not gonna lose sleep, right? If you hate our content, because you overpaid at 1,200 ringgit per square foot, I will still sleep well. The team will still sleep well. Sean will sleep well, But for us, we only do this as a guide so that people who are watching decided to spend time trying to learn about Johor property market can be a little bit more informed about what is the opportunities, what is the danger today in Johor, right? Which we have widely discussed. So, next slide, please. Okay. So guys, if you are keen to see how we buy safe property, how do we get 30, 40, 50% discount, how do we buy really below market value property in Johor, KL and Selangor, do join our webinar next week, which is going to be Sunday, 9 p.m. Right? Do follow our WhatsApp channel. So with that, I think we can move to the Q&A.
Okay, so I don't think we can cover everything because it's already almost 1 o'clock. So I think we can cover around 20 questions. Is that okay?
So let's do a quick fire, I guess.
Quick fire.
Of 10 best questions that we can get.
All right.
So,
Okay.
so by the way, panelists, you guys have got access to the questions, right? Q&A.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think I allow the
So-
panelists to choose lah. Huh?
Yeah. So Sean, you get to pick. You get to pick 5. Me, William, LB, pick maybe 2 or 3 questions. Right? Zairi also pick 2. Zairi, me, William all pick 2. Sean, you got 5 quota.
Okay, just click on the answer live button in the Q&A. Then I'm gonna read it for you. Okay? So panelists, can you do that? So I already picked my side, if that's okay. The first question is actually from Steven. Hi, Faizul, is the Forest City buyable as of today?
I mean, we've covered Forest City already, right? Forest City will only happen, like I said, when the connectivity improves. So that means there's a direct link between Forest City and Singapore. That will only happen 2 ways, which is either the high-speed rail realignment, or there's going to be either highway or second RTS or bridge, right? Going from Forest City, which is the third bridge lah, basically, which I think is a possibility. Right? So yeah, I think for Forest City, you can buy the moment that news is announced and confirmed. Even then, it will still take time to mature, right? So you probably want to buy, if you want to enter places like Forest City, you want to enter 2 or 3 years prior to the infrastructure being completed. Today is too soon.
All right. The second one is from Abdul. Why Johor Bahru has so many unsold units?
Why Johor Bahru has got many unsold units?
Expensive lah.
I mean, overpay mah, harga Yahudi. And in the first 5 years, when they try to sell it, no one realized it's harga Yahudi. Then only lately people begin to realize it's harga Yahudi lah. It's all selling above median, right? So is it oversupply? I don't think so. The job market is very clear. The job market can absorb. Problem is that everyone is building high-end property. So typically, right, if you look at a healthy property market, you got about 40% of property affordable homes, 40% of mass market, then the last 20% of luxury high-end property. But that's not what happened in Johor, right? In Johor, everyone is building high-end. 80% is high-end, right? Sean got scolding for selling something at 700 ringgit per square foot. It's some goddamn ulu place in Berdini. Oh, at that point of time, it's still ulu lah. Now, less ulu. At that point of time, damn ulu eh. 700 ringgit per square foot, fully sold. Wah, kena marah lagi. Right? So at that point of time, people don't realize it was overpriced. So today, people begin to realize it. And, so yeah, that's the reason why it's unsold.
Okay. All right. So the next one is from Nazrul. In terms of investment, which one is better now, Klang Valley or Johor Bahru?
Preference though, familiarity. I think that's one big thing I learned myself. Like when I have a property in Johor, when I'm based in KL, and every time my tenant call me, I will go haywire one. Because I don't know how to manage. I cannot trust people. I got no connections. Who's the plumber to call? Who's anything to call? That's very troublesome. So I think it also depends on the level of investment that you're in. If you have like 6 to 7 properties already, you're in this game for very long already, I think just buy like both. But then if you are not, you are heavily having one, I would suggest get somewhere that you are more familiar with first. Because even if you're not familiar, you buy the supposedly more hype location, you will still lose money. Right?
Okay. I would say for me is what is the margin of safety or how much below market value you are buying. Right? So for example, if I can buy tier 1 in Johor or tier 3 property price point, I will buy Johor. Because that means the opportunity for me to get a really decent cash flow, right, above 1,000 ringgit and a 2 to 300,000 capital gain is very high. Right? So for me, as of today, in the whole of Malaysia, there's only 2 property that I think that can give a 200,000 capital gain, close eye as of today. One of it is in tier 1 in Kuala Lumpur, right, which is nearby the Mount Kiara Dutama site. Why I say is the only one? Because of all the tier 1 is the cheapest. Right? The other areas of tier 1 is all 1,000, 1,002, 1,005 per square foot. This is the only one at 600 ringgit per square foot. There's nothing cheaper. The whole of tier 1 in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, nothing cheaper. Everything else about 1,000 per square foot onward. This one is 600. So you buy 40% below median. So, this is probability of making money very high, right? The other one would be the one in Johor, whereby, again, you are buying a tier 1 property at almost a tier 3 property price, right? A tier 1 property at almost a tier 3 property price. So from a gap point of view, you got about a 200 ringgit per square foot to realize. So if you count that, right? If you are buying a 1,500 square foot, you time 200, that's a 300,000 gain. So again, it's very mathematical, right? So you can make money buying in Johor, you can make money buying in Selangor, you can make money buying in KL. If you buy the right price point, you deploy the right rental strategy, right? You buy sufficient margin of safety. But no property borang can save you if you overpay to begin with. Right? You pay 2,000 ringgit per square foot for Johor. Property borang cannot save you. Right? You pay 3,000 ringgit to buy KLCC property. Property borang cannot save you. Sorry. No property borang can save you. You overpay to begin with. Right? So for me, I don't accept the fact that KL is confirmed better. I see it at the end of the day as it is. Because I think some Johor properties will actually outperform Kuala Lumpur properties in general. Because again, Kuala Lumpur is predictable. It's very hard to buy something at 30 to 40% below median. Very hard. Johor today, because there are so many people lose money, there's a little bit more opportunity. So there's stigma associated to the market, right? So other than RTS, the other areas of Johor hasn't really improved a lot. Right? So, and again, the ART is going to be elevated. So again, it's an advantage. So again, with infrastructure and all that, so some opportunities in Johor will outperform KL property. But do I think if you buy 1,200 ringgit RTS versus 1,200 ringgit walkable to Pavilion, walkable to TRX, which one will win? Definitely the one walkable to Pavilion and TRX.
All right. Okay. So the next one is from Kevin. What about Coronation SQ?
I think we answered, right? Right. So I think the size is interesting. Facilities are interesting. But I don't think you'll make 50% gain. I think it's going to be difficult because you already entered at the 1,200 ringgit per square foot. So unless the only caveat here is that Singapore property market did very well. Did really, 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 really well. Therefore, then by accident, you make money. you're gonna make more than 50% gain, which also means everything else Johor also make more. But is it gonna be above average market performer? I don't think so.
All right. Okay. Next one is from Amanara. Currently, people looking into Johor property because of the current YDP Agong from Johor. May I know if this happens every time Agong change?
I don't think so lah.
I mean, Johor is gonna be hot again. Very little to do with Agong. The pressure is really coming out of Singapore. That is what is driving Johor property values today. RTS was already developed, built before the Sultan of Johor becomes Agong, right? So even if it doesn't become Agong, people are going to make money out of Johor property thanks to RTS alone. It's just that with Johor Agong coming on board, then you've got your ART, suddenly budget from, other state, LRT or MRT, maybe Penang lah. Because Penang has been talking about LRT, MRT for since 2010,
they also moving
right?
lah. They also moving lah.
So yeah, I will benefit, for obvious reason. Then Johor looks to be advantageous lah, right? So which is why also the Agong of Malaysia changes every 5 years, guys. Right? Agong don't change. It's not a political party. So in Malaysia, if PM change or political party win an election, doesn't mean Agong will change. Agong remains Agong for 5 years. One has got nothing to do with political party. Unless, for example, the Agong becomes, let's say, for example, too unfit to perform the duty for personal or for whatever reason, then he can vacate the seat. Right? So yeah. So Johor should do well, irrespective of Agong from Johor or not. But with Agong coming from Johor, then Johor should do exceptionally well. Because our Sultan Johor is also a very shrewd business owner. So you know how to make deals. So smart lah. So as a result, Johor benefit.
Okay. Next one is from Ryan Quek. A lot of developers.
Are we now supposed to be picking questions or no? Or you are picking questions? Okay.
I already read questions based on the panelist choice.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one is from Ryan Quek. A lot of developers grabbing the opportunity to launch more product in the view of the massive data center. Would such new projects be worth to invest?
I have my take lah for data centers, because I think data centers is actually benefiting those landowners, right? Those companies, utilities, right? Not the ones staying there. The job opportunities that they provide, it's not really much. For data center, you don't really need around hundreds of workers there. You only need probably less than 50 to actually operate data centers. So yes, data center is booming right now, but the job opportunities currently offered in those areas that with data centers is not a lot lah. So I won't be banking on data centers like Microsoft going to Elmina, right, in Klang Valley, but there's nothing actually you can benefit from it, right? So the jobs is not actually coming in. It's only that those owners of the land is actually benefiting lah. The TMB benefiting. So I don't see much of reason why I would buy anything around data centers solely.
My take here is that there will be quite a fair bit of demand for housing when they are building the data centers. But when the data centers is completed, you don't really require much people to manage those data centers to begin with lah. So the demand for housing will actually drop. So temporarily, there will be a spike of demand. Temporarily. Itu saja.
I think something like Pengerang last time when they built Pengerang complex, the rental is going really high. Like 4,000, 5,000, right? After that, right now you can see 2,000 plus only. So even the owners last time, they cabut staying elsewhere from Pengerang, sewakan, right? And now they come back lah to Pengerang. But those buying currently doesn't get the same yield as what they get last time lah during the building of the Pengerang.
Which I
always
think,
like data centers.
yeah, which I think that's an important lesson here, guys. I think for Pengerang, the case is a little bit more complex rather than just the fact that after completion, the supply in Pengerang, if I recall correctly, actually went up 4 times. So the number of units that was built, right, in the whole of Pengerang, actually went up about 4x. So if you add your supply by about 400%, then naturally lah, from a rental point of view, demand point of view is going to drop. So which is why it's also quite important, I guess, to ensure that from a supply point of view, you are buying property whereby, you know, from a supply point of view is controllable, digestible, right? So again, if there's no ART, there's no LRT, MRT plan for Johor, no ART, nothing, right? Then forget about every other area, like guys. Just buy RTS. Just buy Bukit Jaga. No brainer. You buy there, then you stuck there, right? But today with the ART, 60 buses, some more 3 routes, and 60 is a starting point, right? They could end up just increasing it all the way to 150. Then it opens up the area. It's similar to, for example, in Klang Valley, we had initially for 20 years, we had LRT Star, LRT Putra. So these are the only two. So rental property along the area, right, actually went up because, you know, there's only limited LRT stations and only limited number of property can be built. And government decided to go and build extension of the LRT, right? And as a result, then places like Bukit Jalil then suffered a little bit from a rental point of view, actually dropped, right? And Kirara, for example, Puchong, that has got new LRT stations, went up, right, in terms of rental. So I think supply-wise is something that people should really strongly consider. And again, I guess one of the caveat here, you guys remember or not? My guideline for price point? Siapa ingat? Who can remember, guys? What is the entry price for Tier S, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3? Who can remember? Okay. Now, there's a reason why we recommend those price. The reason why we recommend those price point is because those are price point whereby if you were to buy them, it's actually quite close. The developer makes very little profit when they sell to you at those price point. So why is this very important? Okay. At Far Capital, our strategy in Johor, there's only one only when we enter in 2020. Do you guys want to know what is the strategy, guys? On top of whatever we have discussed tonight? There's one more strategy. Okay. And that strategy is called, I buy below replacement cost. I want to buy the property at the price point. I know no bloody developer can build a comparable property to this property I'm buying at same price point or sell it even cheaper. You guys understand or not? Tumblr, right? So this, you can see Tumblr. Okay, you can see Tumblr. Doesn't get blurred, right? It costs, let's say, 15 ringgit to make. If I buy this at 40 ringgit, someone might be able to go and buy this tumbler from another provider at 25 ringgit or 30 ringgit. I koyak lah, I bought at 40 ringgit, I stupid lah. But if I buy at 10 ringgit, I buy below the developer's replacement cost, right? I don't care about upcoming supply. I don't care because why? They cannot build the exact same product at the price point cheaper than what I bought. Therefore, my future is secure. Okay? I might have problem renting later, but who's going to win? Me buying at 400, 500 ringgit per square foot in Danga Bay or some guy who paid 1,200 ringgit per square foot? I can lower my price point of rental by half. I can still make cash flow positive, you know. The guy cannot compete with me. Okay? Which is why we also like to buy the lowest. We like to become the poorest person in a rich man's area. Now, why I think everyone here is bersepakat looking at Medini as part of, you know, our favorite tier 1 in Johor is simply because Medini today is probably the cheapest that you can buy, you can enter. Right? So not only there's sufficient land to house, to build more infrastructure for the retiring Singaporean, it's also the cheapest that we can enter as of today because Medini receive a lot of shit from everyone. Right? Everyone talking about RTS, but no one is talking about Medini. We love it. We love it. Right? So the last thing we want is that, you know, everyone talks, by the time, everyone talks about Medini, we already exit. So that would be our strategy. So guys, always remember, when it comes to supply, right? No matter how good your deal is, the moment you have a lot of comparable supply coming into the area, you die. If you're not the cheapest inventory owner, right? Which is why 800 ringgit per square foot, I know the developers cannot make much money. So you enter at 800. I also know your new competition, no matter how many thousand units that will come into the market, will not be selling at below 800 ringgit per square foot. Right? I know a property developer looking to launch something nearby at just 800 ringgit per square foot. They're asking my opinion. But it's not 1 kilometer, it's 2 kilometers away. Right? So if you bought at 1,002 and then some guy launched at 800, habis.
Tap out.
Yeah. So guys, I don't do this for fun. When I give you a recommendation, I give you a proper recommendation so that you make sure when you buy, you don't buy the price point by you can lose money. At 800 today, at Tier S, it's going to be very difficult because the developer building it will probably have to sell it at cost, roughly at cost. Very little profit to be made. Okay, so guys, observe, buy below replacement cost. And you can find these deals. You just have to be a bit smarter. Okay, you want to know how? Go to our webinar next week. Right? Otherwise, like I said, you be a bit smarter, you be a bit more selective in searching, you can find one.
All right. Okay, so the next one is from Tin. For a local Johorian, is it wise to invest in high-rise instead of landed properties or commercial properties? The property market is crazy now in JB.
Okay, my opinion on this. Actually, if you see, landed prices in Johor actually steadily going up throughout the years. High-rise somehow is a bit plateau. Doesn't really goes up. You can see in average. And the price of landed currently is actually, you can see it's quite high actually, it's quite expensive. It's actually matching Selangor price already in Johor. So it goes down to how much is your entry price, because for landed you have to be a bit more selective, as what we discussed previously, right? So we want to target those buyers from, or those tenants from Singapore. So you don't want to buy landed, probably in Masai, Pasir Gudang, or currently it's quite hot, which is in Pulai lah, Jalan Patah there. So around 500, 600,000, you can get landed. But it won't be catering for Singaporeans, it will be catering for locals only, probably working in Singapore. And some areas won't be only those working in JB lah. So, but high-rise somehow, you see there's a big difference in terms of price in sub-sale and also those launching. So this price gap, once the boosters is, I think it's completion, so you can see probably those sub-sale will goes up, following the undercon right now. So the undercon has set a price, but sub-sale actually haven't followed through. So I think sub-sale has some room to go up. And also you can actually buy high-rise in Tier 1 still, 3 bedrooms, probably around 500,000, quite close to landed in Tier 3 area. So, but probably get a better cash flow. So I would think probably high-rise is better in terms of potential that you can actually get from this investment. So yeah, I would go for high-rise if my budget is tight. Probably I would go landed, like those in Horizon Hills, those Eco Botanic, those be more expensive lah. Probably I can get a good, better rental, but somehow overall I think there's still rooms for high-rise in Johor. You don't want to buy those new launches at high price, but potentially you can have a look into sub-sales or unsold units.
All right. Okay, the next one is from One Ong. Can you elaborate further on the impact of a land title complication of Medini on the property wave now?
Oh, I think this one I pick one.
Sorry?
Yeah.
And I picked this question.
Okay, go ahead.
Because this, I'm very, very familiar with this because we developed the land on this. So in Medini, it's not leasehold, it's not freehold, it's lease on freehold. That's why it's 129 years. It was 99 years only, but we, as a developer group, go and make noise and we get extra 30 years. And meaning all the benefits of Medini itself is all predicated on you are not really owning any properties. That's why you got a special zone, you got no restriction on buying quotas, you got no RBGT, because what's transferred between two person or two individual or two party, it's not title. It's just a name on the list, meaning tukar tenant sahaja. And in the end of 129 years, everything belongs to a company who owns the freehold land. However, everything is being very, very complicated due to banking issues, due to legislation issues, especially on the Strata Title Act and the Strata Management Act. So now the entire Medini, last time was called Medini Zone A to Zone F, all technically should have one strata owner. But the strata owner don't want to own ownership because he needs to maintain everything. So now, because I'm working very close, because my ex-colleagues are still there, my ex-boss is still there, he wants to talk to me this Saturday about special news, about changing of land stature around that area. Can I say yet?
Don't now.
I don't know. That's why I
Everyone is
say,
gonna go
can I
hide.
say I don't think so? I can say.
No. We cannot speculate.
Ah,
In the
alright.
webinar we cannot speculate.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, we lah kira. Dia Iheng punya,
Ah.
Iheng yang cakap. But if that happens, I think it does not change anything. Meaning like demand and supply will not change. Because the stigma I think is far too great. Now you talk about like, whenever I talk about, hey, I used to develop the area, people say 3 because they bought 1,200 per square feet sold by me. So yeah, so I think is there going to be a change in land stature? Don't know. And will that change of land stature change the dynamics of demand? Don't know. Because in that same location, due to the technicality of the land stature also, there are buyers who did, there are project developers who did well, there are developers that tap out also. So instead, yeah, go ahead.
You continue first, finish your point.
No. So I think the more important one will be the players within that zones. So you call me biased also, never mind. But zone A to zone F, only zone F is functioning. Meaning the entire Sunway area is the only one that is functioning the entire Medina. When it was the darkest time, they built hotel, they built mall, they built highway, they built everything else lah. When the rest just tapao and chow, literally tapao and chow. But when now times are good, then you see who's the player back again. So if I were to invest something, right, I won't be as angry if of the board zone F versus zone B, zone C. They call the CBD area lah. That's my take.
So from a rumor point of view, guys, there's rumor saying that the Medini area will be converted to become freehold. Right? So I've been hearing this rumor for the last 2 years. The rumor has gotten stronger in the last couple of months. Right? So again, we have to pre-qualify this. No matter what, it's still a rumor. I've got a slightly different take on this. I think it will be a game changer for a couple of reasons. Number one, today, there's only less than 5 banks today that can finance the whole of Medini because of this complication of land. So when you have 20 banks in the country, only 5 can value something. So it will obviously cause the valuation to be quite low. Right? So point number one lah. So a lot of banks don't want to finance anything in Medini as of today, which is why we can buy below replacement cost. So let's be honest, right? Every crisis has got an opportunity lah. Now, for us at Far Capital and our buyers, our view is very clear. If the land conversion doesn't happen at 350 per square foot, 360 per square foot, we're gonna make quite a fair bit of money. Land conversion happen, fatat lah. You know, the Chinese would
Make
say
more lah.
fatat lah. You make a lot more lah, right? Simply because now you go from 5 banks can value and finance to now all banks can value and finance. So first game changer number 1. Game changer number 2 here is that in order for property value to continue to go up, you must have new development. Fair is a fair statement, right? Otherwise, the area is quite dead lah. If there's no new property to drive the property price upwards. Okay. Today, there's no new development in the whole of Medini except for one property saja. In the last 5 years, only one launch, right? And that launch did 95%, 100% sold at 600 ringgit per square foot, and it's got a apartment, medium cost apartment standard of fittings and furnishings, right? So at 600 ringgit per square foot did very well. Now today there's no developer wants to develop Medini, largely because they couldn't get financing. So no one dares to go there. So the land, if you ask me, is too valuable for the land title change not to happen. Because if the state wants to make more money from construction and no one wants to build because of the land title, then the state has to go do something, which is why, from a motivation point of view, landowners, state, all want the land title change to happen simply because, you know, everyone wins.
It benefits everybody.
It benefits everyone. We've also met with the largest shareholder of Medini, right, recently, who invited Far Capital to be part of the discussion about what they're looking to build, you know, and the clients, as you know, has been briefed lah. So we know already what's going to happen, what new infrastructure that we build. We're actually very excited lah for Medini's future. And again, it's similar to the conversion land title, right? Looks to happen quite soon. So again, for us, it's very simple. We don't buy based on news. We buy based on fundamental, right? And we buy at below replacement cost. We buy cheap. Bank value today, average in Medini, even the 5 banks, about 500 to 600 ringgit per square foot, all the way to even 700 for some developments. We buy at 350. Well, does it matter land change happens or not? You know, we buy below market, right? We buy at least 30-40% below market. If it happens, phenomenal. Then today, the 500 ringgit to 600 ringgit will become 700 ringgit. In line with other tier 1 areas, right? Will be in line with other tier 1 areas. And you will see a lot of new exciting development that will come, because whether you like it or not, as of today, that is the second most convenient area for Singaporeans to buy. And Medini, as of today, does not have a minimum price limit. Every other area has got a minimum purchase price. I can't recall. Foreign City ada ke tadi? Minimum purchase price?
I don't have.
Don't have, right? So for every other area in Johor, you got a minimum purchase price. Medini is a special economic zone whereby you can buy even as a foreigner at any price point. You can also sell at any price point.
But that's because of the land stature, ma.
Yes. So in the event of a conversion, so one of the downside of that is potentially that might go away lah. Away. So we don't know, right, how special, you know. So for me, happens great, doesn't happen also good.
But because my school of thought is because a direct competitor, which is Puteri Harbour, they are not Medini, they are freehold.
Yeah.
But nothing happened also. It doesn't mean that they got bank's valuation also, but also tak jadi lah. That's why my school of thought.
The bank valuation for Puteri Harbour, for some developments, is about 1,001 to 1,002 per square foot. Don't ask me why they value it. It's just like what you said lah. Same fucking road mah. Right? Jalan sama. It's like 3 minutes away je. Medini dengan, you know, Iskandar Puteri. Medini highest is 700. Iskandar Puteri today, I think it's about 1,002 highest. So when we try to do a deal, right, from, you know, the lowest we can get was about 700 plus. We only did one deal only in Puteri Harbour, and we bought it about 500 ringgit per square foot. That was a year ago. Right, so we did quite well, and then the units are gone, and William owns the unit there, William is very
Oh,
happy, obviously. Right, gets to buy a freehold property at 500 ringgit per square foot. He gets positive cash flow even after taking berapa ratus ribu cashback, William? How much cashback you took?
Yang tu 300 lebih lah. And rental also, I mean, I broke the record there lah. 3.2K for a two-bedder. So yeah.
Yeah. So you know, valuation seems to go up the moment it's converted to freehold. But again, you know, the downside here is that there's no minimum purchase price, right, for Singaporeans. So for me, I'm bittersweet about it. If it happens, then I think a lot of people will need money. If it doesn't happen, I also think that in the next 5 to 10 years, Medini will continue to be unique. Because you can buy any price point. And you can also exit any price point. Right. So the other thing about Johor here, okay, give you guys a bit of insight, right? So there's a minimum state requirement of 1 million ringgit to buy a property in Johor. Right. So that's the minimum official state requirement. However, Johor, so far to my knowledge, is the only state whereby every project can apply for different limit. So the lowest I've heard a Singaporean can buy in Johor Bahru is 400,000. Right? So it's project to project basis, right? So the big question here is that what happens if you are Singaporean today, buy 400,000? How do you exit later? Because the overall minimum state requirement is still 1 million. So yeah, you can buy today 400,000, but who do you exit to? Right? So as you know, the locals got limitation. So which is why I like Medini as it is. Medini as of today is quite special. I can buy 300,000 property, sell at 800,000 to another Singaporean, no problem. Right? So to me, that gives Medini a lot of advantage. But unfortunately, banks don't finance, and developers are worried because banks don't finance, and because of that, they are talking about this conversion of land. So a very sensitive matter. So there's a couple of sensitivity from a political sensitivity to, you know, what happens to the current owner and whatnot, right? So again, those issues, the moment that the conversion of title were to happen through freehold, you know, will go away. I'm hoping that it becomes freehold and no minimum limit, special zone for many. After all, it's special, right? But all the news that was told by me, to me a couple of weeks ago, will be confirmed and finalized during budget of 2025. Right, so far it's looking pretty good, right?
Okay. Now the next one is from Pris K. Are landed properties in the slide your colleague showed just now on the price, median or average, those below 600,000 are eligible for Singaporeans because they are below 1 million?
To my knowledge, tidak. I don't think so. Right? I think the 400,000, 500,000 only applicable for high rise. I think for landed, I think there's no exception yet. But again, if any of the audience is aware, if you are from the property developer now selling a landed property 500,000 to Singaporean, you let us know, right? So I'm not familiar. So landed, I think, yeah, still there's a minimum. Okay, cool. So my understanding is still correct. So I think the special approval 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 only applicable for high rise. Landed today, no, and landed sensitive matter, I guess. Very sensitive.
Okay, so before
which, by the way, question. So if you were to bet on landed today, knowing that Singaporeans can only buy above 1 million landed, where do you bet? Where do you put your money?
I would choose Iskandar Putri. Can be Sunway part or probably Eco Botanical part.
Which is the landed still.
Yeah. Towards Horizon Hill, that's the furthest. So that is Iskandar Putri area.
Don't know now, I like macam kena convince it.
I would go for Horizon Hills. I mean, it has always been a favorite of mine. So if I were to bet on a above 1 million ringgit landed property freehold, and like I said, I think I make the most money if I can exit to a Singaporean. I'll probably bet on Horizon Hills.
Because there is a blur point. Last time we were toying with the, like, I don't know whether I can say this or not, but whatever. So I think there's a limitation on landed individual title houses. But landed strata, people can still buy.
Horizon Hills is individual title, so
Yes, but
they
it's
are still
gated and
buying.
gutted individual. So for those who don't know, right, like they cannot tell the difference between strata landed and individual title landed. So I was in a phase where my first Stratify project that I got for financing, the bank don't approve. So it was that bad, meaning the banks don't even know what is landed strata in Johor.
So it's still new that time lah, the strata.
So that's why my construction period was only 24 months. Means by month 25, I need to pay for installment, but I got 1 more year to go before my house is ready. Because Stratify is always 36 months.
Okay.
So I buta pay 1 year, right? That's why I kena the warning letter from bank because I didn't pay anything. I thought like my house also not even ready. Yeah, so it's a very blur line there. It's not as clear like in KL. We're all HQ is here lah. But then in JB, it's still a very blur line. Then you have the special zone now. So a stratified landed in Eco-Botanic. Eco-Botanic is not really Medini, eh? It's Edu City is Medini. Eco-Botanic, that line is the boundary. So
still freehold lah, basically, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So if you buy Eco-Botanic versus Sawi Iskandar is special zone 1 is not. But who call the shots? Right? Yeah, so that's why now you ask me like, can buy, cannot buy. But just now what Faizul said is true lah. When they want to start clamping, they still clamp land ownership first lah, which is individual title. So Eco-Botanic sure gone first.
Easiest to do.
So in that sense, then anything landed in Medini area would buy. So high rise in Medini would stand out, but what would stand out further is landed strata in Medini, which is very rare because the whole Medini was built for on plot ratio. Right?
Quite. There's only a handful of development that I know of.
I need to call my ex-boss already.
Yeah. Speaking of which, after this webinar, I also have a few calls to make. I've got some investment ideas, some opportunities. Maybe we can buy landed at 40% discount. Last time they wanted to give us 30. Then we tell them to fly kite. So now I think can consider.
So now we are the kite fly back.
Ada lagi tak?
Aiyo.
Tak apalah, for whatever reason, right? Whatever that can give us deal, we'll do it lah. Sometime, have to belanja people makan, I have such a tough life. Sometimes when I meet property developer, I even have to swap them kari kepala ikan to get the deals that I want at my discount.
Right?
All right. Speaking of deals, we have actually a lot of questions about what for capital deals and all. So, guys, do join our WhatsApp channel. We will update everything inside there. So I'm gonna share the link again.
So I'm just gonna say, right. So tonight's goal is not to sell you a membership. I've got nothing to sell to you today, right? So tonight's goal is to talk about Johor Bahru, define Johor Bahru properly, so that you guys can enter the market safely. So if anyone is keen to understand about our deals and what we are buying, etc., I've given you a hint, and how tight is our criteria is. If you buy into our idea, or you buy into our investment strategy, investment goal, do join our upcoming Sunday session. But tonight is not the night, right? So let's keep it educational, right? I didn't come today to sell anything. Boleh, I guess. Sorry.
All right, so we get around 4 more questions based on the selections. So the next one is from Alif. Taman Molek is very sleepy and boring place at night. You can pick a next question now. I just want to know what's the height for Taman Molek.
This one I answered myself last time. Because my first landed property I bought was in Taman Molek. It was the area where it's just like KL. What's the most popular commercial areas is usually derived by the density of bank outlets. You think about Asia Jaya, SS2, Damansara Jaya, all the commercial area was derived by the density of bank outlets. So it's friendly for business. This was the time before online banking was a thing. So until online banking happened, then it shifted. And that's when like IKEA didn't build in Molek, they built in Mount Austin. And then you've seen the traffic are shifting. Then last time, there's also another separate behavior thing where a lot of men in contractor, because my circle of friends are all contractors back then, will have two wives, one in Singapore, one in Johor. So they call the
Wow.
mole, yeah. So no lah, one wife, one girlfriend, one wife, one girlfriend.
Wow.
Then I don't know which one formal, but whatever. I'm not
Astaga,
that.
apa yang kau ajar orang ni, Sean?
I
Malam
know.
ni.
No, I gotta know my target audience, man. When I invest, you teach me, man. So we call it the sarang burung lah. So all the molek pie last time is all sarang burung.
I see. Saya tak
Then
faham lah semua ni. Boleh lukis tak? Saya Malaysia, you know lah. Netizen tak faham apa. You tolong lukis.
hey.
Sarang burung tu untuk apa?
Then yeah, I think that was the main reason why Taman Molek was the popular area, and it was also because of the Ponderosa golf course. Anywhere golf course, then atas. Yeah. So yeah, just to answer, like, because I stayed there for 2 to 3 years before Legoland was built. Wow, very old.
I think my take a little bit of Taman Molek here that is where the old money stays. Anywhere where old money stays is not exciting. The KL equivalent would be Damansara Heights. The commercial is actually alive during the day, night not so alive. But recently there have been a revival of cool hipster restaurants and coffee places coming over, because of the catchment. A lot of money, right? So yeah.
The next one is from Emilio. How are all these good news for Medini and Iskandar Putri or Nusanjaya this round going to be different from the craze 10 to 12 years ago? Back then also a lot of good news.
I think last time was a lot of rumors. Right? Number one. Number two here is that there's news that was announced, but there was no deadline of the news. You know what I'm trying to say?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so I think you have to understand the difference between what is a factual news already being implemented versus rumors, potential upcoming things. Right? So today you got the second bridge, which is no longer news, right? It's already facts. Right? So that's number one. Number two here is that last time people are speculating because people cannot put a baseline on price. Today there's already a baseline on price, and the baseline is 500 to 600 ringgit per square foot. You pay above that, you're not so smart lah. You pay below that, you're very smart. Last time tak ada. Right? Any developer can come and say it's worth 1,000 per square foot because Singapore is 3,000 ringgit per square foot. So a lot of people buy into that methodology, which to me is So, but today you got second link already, which is already happening. You got a baseline of price point, so there's a lot more clarity. So I think that's the biggest difference.
My difference is work done difference. Like last time, Pasir Gudang Highway was trash. Last time I would drive from Palazzo to Legoland every day. Wow.
Through 1.5 hours?
Per trip. Yeah, lor.
Right.
That's why but now it's ready. Last time the highways, CHSL, the coastal link to the Tuas checkpoint was not ready. Now it's ready. Last time all talk lah. Last time all talk only. And last time I was part of the research team for Johor BHARU launch. Wow, no. Everyone was new. there was no existing projects, all was pre-construction. So just now I look at Zairi's data point, which is very refreshing. I had all the points, but all still constructing, under construction, but now all ready. Yeah, so I think now more vivid, but I still see similar human behaviors. The greed is still there. So people, it's something like crypto. Also, people always buy the peak. You will always have people pushing the peak.
No, I don't know whether will it make a difference. Before you attend this session or after you attend this session, if you realize that there was less than 10 transactions, Zairi, if you are still here, you can confirm this. How many transactions there is above 1,000 per square foot as of today, the whole of your? Ada ke?
Subsale, zero.
Subsale, zero. No, will it make a difference for the 1,000 people, all people who bought Coronation Square 1,002, knowing that the zero transaction of property happening in the whole of Johor from subsale? Zero. Don't know. Right? So, like I said, what's the difference between those people than people who are 10 years ago? No difference. There's no fundamental, just by, they're basically making a bet. All right. The difference between what we're trying to do tonight is, well, we provide you a guide and we prove you why this guide exists and why you should adhere to this guide. And if you don't follow the guide, the probability of you not going to make money is going to be very high. Not saying you can't, but you're going to make money based on luck. Right? So we're trying to reduce the element of luck, and we're trying to increase the probability of success by using data, by using existing data points. So today, what you have versus 10 years ago is that there's a lot more data. Right? I cannot argue about tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, even 10 years ago. There's only one tier 1, right? There's only one tier 1 at the point of time. Taman Molek. That's it. Horizon Hill become a new contender in the last couple of years. All the other areas are tier 2, tier 3. Right? But today, yeah, there's a lot more data. Number one. Number two here is that last time, I think it's still relatively affordable to stay and retire in Singapore, which to me is the biggest game changer. Today, no more.
I think the push factor is more than the pull factor.
Very. And you've got the infrastructure to support it. And the infrastructure is currently already, some of it being built, like second bridge. Now, RTS is coming.
Yep.
So if they build HSR, so you got the fourth infrastructure now connecting. So I think infrastructure is more ready, right, to support the story.
But I think something to add on is just now when you talk about whether the Argo will be a game changer or not. I think back, yes, because if the China developers didn't come in 8 to 10 years ago, flooding the market, because that time when we were looking at launches per launch 500 units, we think they are aggressive until we see Country Garden. So when they announced 3,000, we all thought was typo. We all thought was a typo. Then when they came RNF, came Greenland, then we heard, oh, they bought another piece of land, but we seaside, we couldn't figure out where until we got info that it was the middle of the sea, called Forest City. And cool fact, I still have the footage of me on a chopper taking picture of them doing land filling. So I think that is also now there's proper laluan, proper cable being connected for everything. So no more federal initiative. Because Manini is a very federal driven thing, not state driven. So tak ngam lah, dulu tak ngam lah.
Yeah. So I think those are the key differences. You got external pressure coming out of Singapore, which is the biggest one, right? Contributor. Number two here is that the infrastructure as of today is more ready to support the story. Last time it's only a story, no infrastructure. literally just selling a story, right? So, I think that's the biggest difference between today and 10 years ago.
All right. So the last one for tonight is from JT. How many properties are you considering to invest in JB for now? And how many of those are near RTS or less 1 kilometer away?
0 for me lah. Neighbor RTS 0. Like I said,
Mm,
RTS
mm,
game
mm.
over. I'll go. My target is second link. Second link is, in my opinion, is at least 30 to 50% undervalued as of today.
Mm.
Right? Because everyone just focus on the first link. Great. Right? And for us, I represent FACAP, right? I represent FACAP. The last 2 years, I think we bought close to about 400 units in Johor, BHARU, all the way to Medini. So we want to get 1,000 units, but I think it's going to be more difficult, right? To buy completed inventory. I do, however, have developers coming to us asking about our opinion, what property to launch, what product to be built. So in terms of upcoming inventory of developers looking to engage far capital, we are probably looking about 1,500 to 2,000. Who are looking to buy the cheapest dual key property available in tier 2, whereby you can buy 2 studio units for less than hopefully 300,000. So price per studio unit become 150,000, right? With full stock pool. So all goes well, that property should be launched sometime early of next year. Yeah, we've got one public listed top 10 property developer, not too far away from RTS, looking to launch something at 800. I'm trying to push them to launch it at 720 per square foot. Right, so 800 to the public, 720 to us. So if they were to buy it, which I think they will, we'll probably own something there. But again, as I share this with you, I just have to warn you guys. I'm in a bit more different position because we buy a lot. We've got a reputation. Therefore, we are able to secure those deals easier. Right? It's not meant for the public. Well, it's group purchase, bulk purchase. Therefore, we get special treatment, special discount. Those things.
But
for
something
now,
something to point out, I think from the chat earlier, you're talking about why new developers still launching at 1,000 plus. I think you wouldn't want to upset the existing buyers who supported you for the first launch, man. So so for that being said, it's instead of buying new, do explore sub-sale, do explore auction, do explore other channels of buying. Mainly there's 4: new, sub-sale, auction, and bulk purchase. But this one, yeah that's my take. But personally, I exited Taman Molek on a luxury bungalow side because I took a 15 years loan. I don't know why
Okay.
And but that one I although it was a very terrible investment, I made money on a terrible investment. So that's why now I'm really debating, right? Like KLCC versus Medini. Buy one in KLCC or buy 3 in Medini.
Well, if you are getting it below 400 ringgit per square foot, the 3 in Medini will outperform your KLCC. I mean, it's all about price point, right?
Yeah. But it's the experience that haunts me. I need to psycho a bit. Okay.
All right. So yeah, that is all for tonight. It's almost 1:40. We didn't make it earlier.
Terrible timing.
Again,
we all
guys.
Malaysian. Sorry too much content guys to go and share, and too much insight, and then you guys also ask too much questions. So then people comment also too much. Then we had to comment also. So we blame it back on you guys, right? But anyway, jokes aside, I want to thank Sean for making the time, all the way until 2. So looks like we really went for Euro punya timing lah. Balik boleh terus tengok Euro.
Tengok bola.
Right? So number one, I hope you guys enjoyed the session tonight. I hope you guys learned a lot of insight, right? From the session tonight. I hope we provide you a sufficient guide stories, case studies, to help you make better decision when you want to buy JOHOR. As usual, the goal for tonight is very simple, is to educate, to show proof, to show the data. We know some people are not going to be very happy, especially those who have overpaid based on the tier, but it is what it is. My suggestion, if you have overpaid, just make sure you don't overpay next time, right? You make mistake one time, okay lah, you can argue, I don't know. You make mistake second time, third time, it's just pure stupidity lah. So the whole objective of this session is to reduce that level of stupidity, right? So I hope you learn plenty. Please do go and watch our previous Battle Royale, which is we talked about Utama Segambut area. Give you a lot of insight about that area, tier 1 versus tier 2 in Kuala Lumpur. And then before that, we had Maluri. Go and watch it so that you can understand a little bit more about the KL property market. So with that, thank you so much for staying for the last 4 hours. I wish you a wonderful week ahead. And Assalamualaikum and good evening. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone. Assalamualaikum and good night.
Bye.